HRM. So friends, let's take a fascinating journey into the evolution of wealth and organization dynamics. So this way, let's understand each and every fact. First, let's talk about the people management. So here you can see people management. So why do organization exist? Because no one can do it alone. Organizations are built on interdependence, right? So there is something called interdependence, right? People coming together to meet individual needs while chasing shared goals and purposes. It is people who form the heart of every organization. Next come human capital. Yes, technology and tools have, but who make the real difference? It is you, the people. Human capital, your skill, your knowledge, your attitude is the game changer, right? These are the true driver of growth and transformation in any business. Finally, notice the shift in the wealth creation over the era. In agrarian era, wealth came from lands. So let me zoom a little bit so that the picture become very clear to you. So the first era was called agrarian era. So in agrarian area, what used to happen? That wealth come from the land, that is the field, that is the soil. But now today in the knowledge era, the rules have changed. Now it is human capital, right? Now it is human capital, right? That means what you know, how you think, how you innovate, that builds wealth. People are the powerhouse of modern success. So from land to people, soil to skill, this is how wealth and organization have evolved. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into how organizations thrive by unlocking human potential. So I hope this makes sense, whatever we have talked till now, evolution of wealth and organization dynamics. Now friends, let's look at the next chart. So this is a single chart in which every information has been given. Let me zoom out a little bit. Every important information has been given that will help you understand the concept, right? So let's get started. So the concept is, let's dive into the world of organization structure, and let me write here informal structure. I think it is missing here, informal organization. So friends, to begin with, let's understand what an organization really is. Let me zoom a little bit. So friends, according to the Edgar Skin, remember the name Edgar Skin in 1979, an organization is simply the rational coordination of activities of multiple people. Remember this definition, right? So they define organization as a rational coordination of activities of multiple people. So sounds simple, right? But this simple idea drives every successful venture. Every organization exists for a common purpose. There is a common purpose for which every organization exists, right? Whether it is building product, delivering services, or solving problem, there is always a shared mission behind it. That is a common purpose. And how does it operate? It operates through the division of labor, which means where work is broken down into a smaller task. Like we are covering this ABM chapter, this entire CAIIB. So we have converted into five subjects. In each subject we have different module. In each module we have different units, and we are covering one unit out of that. So this is how the division of labor is working, right? And the second thing is through hierarchy. So hierarchy is where clear level of authority ensure coordination and efficiency. So these two pillars, that is division of labor and hierarchy, help organization function like well-oiled machine. Now let's explore one of the key types of organization, that is the formal organization and informal organization. First of all, let's look at the formal structure. So here you can see, here it is formal structure, right? So it has a predefined goal. It has predefined goal structure, roles and relationship. Activities, process, responsibility are well documented. It ensures uniformity and consistency in decision making. So this is called formal organization. So these are the characteristics of formal organization. What about informal organization? So the second type is called informal organization. So unlike the formal structure, informal organization evolved naturally through human interaction. So informal organization evolved through human interaction. So here human interaction plays a role. They don't follow a predefined chart, but are built on relationship, trust and group dynamic. In short, while formal structure give order, informal network provide flexibility and adaptability. So they provide something we call flexibility. They provide something we called adaptability, right? Adaptability. While formal structure, formal structure provide order, provide discipline, right? So whether it is the official hierarchy or the informal bond among teams, both shape how organization breathe and grow. Stay with me as we unlock more layer of organization dynamic. So I hope this picture makes sense in every point which I have covered. We have gone through the organization structure and types. Friends, let's look at the third slide, and this is about informal organization. Now let's look at the next slide, that is productivity improvement. So friends, ever wondered how productivity became such a big buzzword in management and industry? Let's travel back in time and meet two pioneers who shaped this idea. Meet Robert Owen and you meet Charles Babbage. So friends, first meet Robert Owen, right? A visionary with a managerial focus. He was a visionary with a managerial focus. Owen saw workers as more than just laborer. To him, they are the vital machine. Remember, this is very important. His belief was that if you invest in the well-being of worker, you will naturally boost productivity. Better working condition, better education, better welfare, right? It means happier worker. And if happier worker are there, so what they say, if happier worker are there, it simply means better result. It simply means better result, right? Simple yet revolutionary for his time. On the other hand, we have Charles Babbage from 1792 to 1871. You can see Charles Babbage 1792 to 1871, right? Often called the father of computer. You know, he is called the father of computer, right? So but also a key figure in productivity improvement. So Babbage also, you know, took scientific approach, applying logic and analysis to the workplace. He was a strong advocate of division of labor, right? And focused on optimizing work process using scientific principle. So it applied scientific principle to optimize work processes. So for Babbage, the goal was clear: efficiency and cost reduction. His goal was clear, that was efficiency and, you know, cost reduction, right? So what united them both? At the core, both Owen and Babbage emphasized productivity improvement, but with two different angles, right? In the case of, you know, Robert Owen, right, it was worker well-being. In the case of Robert Owen, it was just worker well-being, and in the case of Charles Babbage, it was efficiency. It was efficiency and, you know, cost control. Efficiency and cost control, right? So whether you are about caring for the people like Owen or optimizing a system like Babbage, both parts leads to one destination, that is a more productive workspace, productivity improvement, right? So again, I'm telling you, Charles, you know, Robert Owen is called the father of, you know, Charles Babbage is called father of computer. He took a scientific approach, applying logic and analysis to workplace. He was a strong advocate of division of labor, right? He was a strong advocate of division of labor, and he focused on optimizing work process using scientific principle, right? And while on the other hand, Robert Owen, we have just talked about, he called worker as a vital machine, right? And you know, Robert Owen, his belief was that if you invest in the well-being of worker, you would naturally boost productivity, right? If you invest in the worker welfare, it will naturally boost productivity. So happier worker means better result, right? So we can say that division of labor was about Charles Babbage, right? So at its core, both Owen and Babbage emphasized productivity improvement, but with two distinct angles: Owen, worker well-being, and Charles Babbage, efficiency and cost control. So whether you are about caring for the people like Owen or optimizing the system like Babbage, both parts lead to one destination, and the destination is what we call more productive workplace. Let's rewind to the root of the modern management, the era where science meets business, giving birth to what we call as the scientific management approach. So let me zoom a little bit so that it become clearly visible to you. So now I hope it is visible, clearly text is visible. So friends, this approach was pioneered by none other than Frederick Taylor, right? Frederick Taylor is pioneered this concept of scientific management approach. He is called the father of the scientific management, and Taylor believed that by scientifically studying work process, we could make them more efficient and predictable, right? So how did he do this? So he introduced the division of labor. I think we have already discussed the division of labor, and also time motion study. So where every task was broken down into a smaller step, it is measured and optimized, right? But the Taylor idea did not stop there. This was further developed by experts like Gantt and Gilworth, who added new dimensions like a scheduling technique and motion economy. At the heart of this approach were two major assumptions. What were the major assumptions under the scientific management approach? So it says that task breakdown. That means you break task into simple, repeatable steps and motivate worker using monetary incentive, leading to a stronger organization control, right? But here is the twist. While Taylor's method was revolutionary, it was not flawless, right? It faced sharp criticism for overlooking key human factor like fatigue, boredom, social interaction. So it treated worker as a replaceable part of the machine, right? It treated worker like a replaceable part of the machine and focused heavily on control and prediction rather than on human behavior. So while scientific management saved industrial efficiency, it also sparked the need for more people-centered management approach later on. What do you think? Is the control more important than motivation today? What do you think? Is control more important than motivation? So basically this particular diagram clearly indicate every aspect of the scientific management theory, right? So I hope the concept is clear, who introduced it and how it works, what are the advantage and disadvantage of it. Now let's switch our focus to next topic, that is consequence and rise of labor union. Ever wondered what triggered the powerful rise of labor union that reshaped workplace worldwide, right? So here we are talking about that. So friends, so what happened, that as industry grew more mechanized, worker began to feel like cogs in machine, right? So let me zoom a little bit. So what happened, as industry grew, as industry grew more mechanized, the industries began to feel like, cogs in a machine, leading to labor unrest. Frustration boiled over as employees faced poor treatment and harsh working condition, right? That is called labor unrest. Then comes, this is a sequence. Then comes economic depression. So an economic downturn that worsened thing, pushing more workers to seek solidarity and protection through union. This situation was further stirred by worker immigration. A steady influx of laborer added number and momentum to the union movement. That is called, worker immigration. Then we have management anti-union stance. So basically it was not just worker reacting, management anti-union stance also play a key role. So here you can see aggressive opposition, right? Aggressive opposition from management only fueled the fire, right? Aggressive opposition from management, right? It fueled the fire, right? And strengthening the workers' resolve. So when union finally formed, collective bargaining became their weapon. Often slowed down by tough and delayed negotiation. And overlaying these all were socio-political pressure. External force like politics and society heavily influenced corporate decision and labor policy. Finally, as all time passed and workplace evolved, modern management approach emerged. It emerged. The old scientific management model could not survive today's fast-paced VUCA world. What is VUCA? You must understand. The full form of VUCA is very, very important. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So the old scientific management model could not survive today's fast-paced VUCA world. Today, organizations are focusing on human-centric approach. So today, the main focus of organization is, human-centric approach, right? So prioritizing people over process, engagement over just efficiency. So do you think today's modern flexible management style are enough to keep labor union less confrontational to this era of change, right? So basically this is all about the discussion just now we have done regarding, this discussion is regarding consequence and rise of the labor union. So first of all, we talked about the labor unrest, economic depression, worker immigration, management anti-union stance, collective bargaining, right? What is the meaning of collective bargaining? It means when union finally formed, collective bargaining became their weapon, and overlying what this all were socio-political pressure. And finally we have modern management approach like VUCA, right? VUCA environment, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Now let's switch our attention to the evolution of the people management. So friends, have you ever felt like just a number at work? Well, that exactly how early worker felt in traditional factory. In the early days of industrial work, jobs were designed to be rigid and structured, right? You can see what were the issues. So this is an question and answer format. So the job was rigid and structured, stripping away meaning and pride. The result was that productivity decreased and workers felt disconnected from their task. But then come a powerful realization that that emotion matter at the work. Yes, emotion matter at the work. How people feel directly impact how well they perform. So this led to one of the most famous study in the management history, and that is called Hawthorne experiment. Remember this experiment, very, very important. So Hawthorne experiment, it was conducted by Alton Mayo and team at the Western Electric Company between 1924 to 1933, right? So what did they find? Something that changed management forever, right? What was the key finding? Let's discuss the key finding. So turns out it is not just wages and working conditions that drive productivity, rather human behavior, right? Human behavior, social interaction, right? And psychological factor are equally important. People thrive when they feel valued, heard, and connected. So today every modern manager are adapt to these insights. So ask yourself, is your workplace focusing enough on these human side of productivity, right? So the Hawthorne experiment key finding was that human behavior and interaction impact productivity, right? Now let's shift our focus to the next slide. As you can see on your screen, that have you ever wondered why some workplace feel more human and connected while others feel cold and mechanical? let uncover the shift that changed the world of management forever. Right. So in this particular table, I have condensed every information in just single table so that you can easily understand all the point. And this is the beauty of our crash course. Right. Now friends, this shift is called human relation movement, and that is what we are talking about. We are talking about something called human relation movement. Right. Hardly it will take 20 to 30 minutes to master this particular chapter, everything that matters for your exam. So this is a game changer that moved beyond treating employee as mere economic unit. At the heart of this movement were powerful concept from brilliant thinker like Chris agrees. Right. He emphasized growth and self-actualization at work. Right. So helping employee reach their full potential. That is called growth and self-actualization. Then we have Abraham Maslow. So what about Abraham Maslow? Abraham Maslow introduced his famous hierarchy of need. Right. He introduced famous hierarchy of need starting from Maslow theory, like psychological self-actualization, starting from basic survival need to achieving self-actualization. And then we have Douglas McGrath. He gives theory X and theory Y. We will cover it later, highlighting how management style, whether controlling or empowering, influence employee behavior. Then we have Frederick Herzberg. He developed the motivational hygiene theory, showing how both intrinsic and extrinsic factors drive motivation. But here is the twist. This movement replaced the old idea, right? So this particular movement, that human relation movement, it replaced the old idea. What was the old idea? The old idea was rational economic man. It replaced the rational economic man who only worked for money with the more human focused social man concept. Now things like workplace culture, right, team dynamic and personal fulfillment became just as important as paycheck, right? So people don't just work for money, then they seek meaning, purpose, connection at work. Modern management now blend both psychological and economic factor to boost performance. So that is the point. So what we learned from this discussion is that the key takeaway is that meaning, purpose, non-monetary motivation drive performance. Modern management integrate both psychological and economical aspect. So the next time you think about workplace motivation, remember it's all about the heart as much as the paycheck. Right. So I hope that makes sense to you. Decode the backbone of every successful organization, the structure and function of human resource management and development. So basically, if we talk about the HRM or human resource management, right, it has evolved far beyond its traditional role. Initially, it focused on basic people management, but over the time, it has added layers and dimensions. Right. It has added some layers. It has added some dimensions. Right. Stabilizing into a well-structured and routine function. That is the evolution of HRM. This is the part. Now here is where the things get even more interesting, that HRM is process oriented, that means process driven. Every system from hiring to performance appraisal follow a defined process, right? And don't forget, educating line manager on HR principle is very vital to making sure this process flows smoothly. That means educating the line manager on HR principle is very, very important. But HRM don't work in isolation. It acts like an umbrella function, right? So it guides new system, it guides subsystem and cover every aspect of people management, right? Both old as well as the new. And last but not the least, here is a key role you may not have thought about, that is HRM is also a line and a staff function. This means it is not just HR team handling it. Every manager out there implement HR practices. Line manager in particular plays a crucial role in executing HR policy directly with their team, right? That is the role of line manager. So the next time you think HR is just hiring and firing, remember it's a dynamic collaborative engine driving organization success. So these are the various aspects of HRM which we have just gone through. Now let's look at the strategic HRM and HRD overview in this particular slide. So friends, ever wondered how companies stay competitive and resilient in today's fast changing world? The answer lies in power due, that is a strategic HRM and HRD. Let's start with the first pillar, that is called effective people management. The first pillar is effective people management. So by managing people well and adopting the best HR practices, organization gain a real competitive edge. So organization gain a real competitive edge, right? So it is no longer just about product or services, it's about how you manage your people. Next come talent acquisition. So the fuel for success, hiring the right people, training them, planning your workforce properly is a game changer. HRM is the engine that drives this, ensuring the right talent is in right place at the right time. That is called talent acquisition, right? So this is called fuel for success. Hiring the right people, training them, planning your workforce properly is a game changer. So HRM is an engine that drives this talent acquisition. But here is where HRD steps in as crucial subsystem of HRM. So this HRD is a crucial subsystem of HRM. HRD goes beyond just routine tasks. So it focus on developing people. Let me zoom a little bit so that the picture is clear to you. So here you can see, let's look at HRD. So HRD is a crucial subsystem of HRM. Remember, this is very, very important. So you can remember it like this: D come before M. So D is a subsystem of M, right? So HRD goes beyond routine tasks. HRD focus on developing people, right? And enhancing performance, right? And using human potential to its fullest. This is where organizations shift from just managing people to truly growing them, right? Professional development is the next key element. Organizations that invest in continuous learning and development enjoy higher efficiency and adaptability, because when your people grow, your business grow. But not the least, let's not forget the synergy between HRM and HRD. That's called complementary function. So what does it mean? See, these two work hand in hand without stepping on each other's toes. While HRM handle daily people process, HRD focus on bigger goal like shaping a positive culture, driving employee engagement, and managing changes. So the bottom line is that strategic HRM and HRD are not just support function; they are crucial for driving sustainability, growth, and long-term success. So I hope this slide is clear now how HRD and HRM are related, and you must note that this is a question most frequently asked. HRD is a subsystem of HRM. Remember it. Very, very important. Now let's look at the critical attribute for HR role. So friends, did you know that? Do you know that what it really takes to be an outstanding HR professional? It is much more than just hiring and firing. Let's dive into the Parikh and Rao. This question is asked. Parikh and Rao framework, right? A blueprint for mastering the HR role. First, let's zoom out. So this is how I have represented it it is in form of flow chart, and let me explain step by step what is happening here. So remember, this is a very important thing we are going to discussing. According to the Parikh and Rao, the HR role demand a unique blend of 3 critical competence. And what are those 3 critical competence? The first is called technical, then we have managerial, and the last is called personality, right? So these are called 3 critical competence: technical, managerial, and personality competence, right? So friends, let's first talk about the technical competence. What is the meaning of this so-called technical competence? Let me explain. So friends, according to the Parikh and Rao, the HR demands a unique blend of 3 crucial competence. So technical competence are the nuts and bolts of HR. To be effective, an HR professional must master performance appraisal system, means they ensure fair and effective evaluation, behavioral test and measurement, using assessment to understand employee behavior trait, and training program design, means creating impactful learning experience to upskill the team. So these 3 things are under technical competence. There are many more, but these 3 are super important: performance appraisal, behavioral test and measurement, and training program design. If we talk about the managerial competence, so HR leader also needs sharp management skill like organizing ability, because chaos does not build great teams. System development skill means crafting process and framework that make organization run smoothly. That's the managerial competence. And finally, personality trait. This is where HR truly shines as people champion. So the right mindset include initiative, that means being proactive and a self-starter, positive attitude, because positivity fuel engagement, and teamwork ability, which means collaborating effectively to create a strong organization culture. So whether it is technical know-how, managerial sharpness, or winning attitude, the Parikh and Rao model, right, shows us that HR is both a science as well as an art. I hope that makes sense to you. Now let's look at enhancing HR professionalism and competence. So this flowchart sees every aspect of that. See, I have made this flowchart, right, and this will help you understand every competence. So this is the beauty of this crash course, right? Because you need not remember anything. You just go through this chart. It will hardly take 1 minute to go through each and every part, and you will be able to understand. So at the time of revision, you just go through these key points, and this will help you remember the entire concept, right? So let's get started. So friends, in this particular slide, what we are talking about. Ever wondered what transform an ordinary HR professional into a true leader? Have you ever wondered what transform an HR professional into true leader? What transform? So friends, let's decode the secret to enhancing HR professionalism and competence. So building HR professionalism is like shaping a diamond. It needs multiple forces working together. So there are 4 key factors. The first is called individual growth. So it means continuous learning and self-improvement. Then we have organization role. So the influence and support you receive from your company. Then we have academic institutions, the knowledge and research backing your skill. And finally, we have the professional bodies, means the global HR communities that set the standard. So these are the 4, these are the 4 key factors. Now, what make an HR leader truly stand out, right? So according to the SHRM competency model, there are 9 critical skills that every top HR leader must master, right? What are those 9 critical skills? Let's discuss. So let me show you. The first is called, leadership and navigation. So it means leading teams with purpose. It's ethical practice. Means, integrity is a non-negotiable. Business acumen, understanding business inside out. Relationship management, a strong connection create a strong organization. Consultation, guiding team with expert advice. Critical evaluation, right? So if we talk about the critical evaluation, it means, making sharp data driven decision. Global and cultural effectiveness, which means, thriving in diversity. Communication, clear and impactful messages. HR expertise, the foundation of every HR champion. So one more thing I want to tell you, these are the 9 critical aspects that is needed for SHRM, right? And there was a Verma, Priksat and Sanjeev Kumar study also highlight the real world HR role you often see. What are the real world HR role? As per Verma, Priksat and Sanjeev Kumar, the first is functional HRM as a specialist. So it means the most common role. Then we have the strategic business partner. This is the second most impactful role. The third is the credible activist competency. HR as a trusted voice. And finally, we have workforce designer role, which means shaping the future of work. So remember, HR professionalism is not built overnight. It's about honing competency, embracing global standard, and always staying one step ahead. So that is how HR competency is built. Now let's look at strategic HRM in bank, evolving roles and responsibility. So this slide clears everything about SHRM. So friend, did you know that how HR in bank has transformed from a traditional support function into true strategic powerhouse? So today strategic HRM in bank is no longer just about hiring and firing. It's about driving the business forward. So first let's talk about the shift. So in the past, HR was seen as a reactive function. Remember, in the past, HR was seen as a reactive function, but now it's primarily focused on compliance and protecting the employer's interest. That was called reactive function. But now, HR has evolved into a strategic business partner. So here you can see, shift from traditional HR to a strategic HR. But now HR is seen as a traditional strategy partner, fully aligned with the organization mission and goal. Earlier it was reactive, now it is a strategic business partner. Now if you look at the key responsibility, if you just look at the key responsibility of modern HR professional, so here you can see basically the first today HR professionals are no longer the sole executor, they are enabler also, which means creating system and empowering other. They delegate their more responsibility to the line manager and focusing on value driven function that impact the entire organization. If you look at the evolving role of the line manager, that means they act like a local HR administrator. They take on crucial people management role, and they often serve as the last contact point for many HR related issues within the team. Now if you look at the new HR model in bank are now adopting a modern HR model. HR become a center of excellence, right? Focusing on core policy that apply organization wide. Their role is now about formulating universal HR policy, right? And most importantly, empowering line manager, right, to manage their team effectively, right? So HR in bank today is not just about administration task. It's about creating a culture of leadership, accountability, and business success. Now let's look at this particular slide. Very, very important. Question is asked every year. So friends, have you ever wondered who safeguard employees in India and ensure that workplaces are fair and just for everyone? Let's decode the key legislation shaping employment and employee welfare in India. At its core, we have employment and employee welfare legislation, which ensures that workers' rights are respected and promoted across the country. So it starts with the equal employment opportunity. So Article 16 subsection 1 of the Indian Constitution guarantees equal employment opportunity. And then we have Employment Exchange Act 1959, making it mandatory for employee to notify job vacancy to employment exchange. Then we have Apprentice Act in 1961, promoting skill building and training program directly linked to future employment. So this ensures that job seekers are not just waiting but are being equipped and notified about opportunity. Then we have protective law for vulnerable worker. The system also safeguards the most vulnerable segment of our workforce, the Child Labor Act 1986. It protects children from being exploited at work. It protects children. Then we have Bonded Labor System Act 1976. So it abolishes bonded labor, ensuring no worker is forced to work under debt or coercion. And then we have Interstate Migrant Workmen Act. So it protects migrant workers who travel from far home in search of livelihood, right? So Child Labor Act, Bonded Labor System Act, and Interstate Migrant Workmen Act. Then we have government role in social welfare. The government plays a key role by framing welfare initiative under the directive principle of state policy. You know about DPSP. So there is something called directive principle of state policy, and enacting laws and aimed at preventing the exploitation of worker, and finally nurturing a positive organizational perception of labor welfare. So these laws work together, create a safety net for workers across India, right? Now friends, let's shift our focus to the HRM approach. This is the last slide. right? This is the last slide which will go through, right? So friends, let's talk about HRM approach. So friends, in today's fast changing world, human resource management is no longer just about hiring and firing. So HRM proactive approach. First thing you must note it down, that it is called proactive approach, which means a modern HRM is no longer reactive. It is futuristic and strategic. HR leader now align people management with business goal. So what they do, they align people management with what? With business goal, right? Creating synergy between human capital and organization success. So this HR, they function on employee welfare and growth. And here is the exciting part. Today HR professionals are ready to face challenge dynamically. Whether it is remote work, digital transformation, emerging workforce trend, HRM is constantly evolving. And let's rewind to 1980s. 1980s, the birth of formal HRD. HRD was formed, right? And while the Western world was shaping HRD as a concept, Indian academicians were developing their own HRD model. So two names stand out. You must have heard about Uday Parikh and T.V. Rao, right? So they pioneers who helped shape HRD in India. They did not just adopt Western idea, they customized HRD to India's unique business landscape, developing integrated system that blended beautifully with traditional HRM practice. And Indian government also played a vital role by encouraging employee participation in decision making and even promoting worker shareholding to deepen employee engagement. As India's economy grew and high-tech industry emerged, there was a massive surge in demand for a skilled professional. So our modern day knowledge worker. Today HRD stands as a structured subsystem of HRM, right? Focusing on employee development, engagement, creative empowering for workforce ready to do. So from being reactive to become proactive and dynamic, HRM and HRD in India have come a long way. The topic is Indian bank merger and privatization, and all the data have been condensed into one peak. I will try to cover everything that is given in your book in 2 to 3 pages in just one peak, right? This is the ultra condensed form of the notes. So let's get started. Welcome to this insightful session on the evolution of Indian bank merger and privatization. In the last few decades, India's banking sector has undergone significant transformation. So this is the entire peak in one, you can see snapshot of the peak. So friends, with the strategic merger, privatization, shaping the financial landscape. So the first thing is, as SBI Associate Bank merger, right? So SBI Associate Bank merger, one of the biggest consolidation in the India's banking history was that 5 associate banks merged with SBI, creating a financial powerhouse capable of competing on a global scale. Then we have Bank of Baroda merger, right? So the merger of Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank into Bank of Baroda aimed to create a stronger, more resilient financial institution. Then you have 2019 mega merger of public sector. So you can see that this landmark decision saw multiple public sector banks consolidated to create a stronger, more competitive entity. In December examination, question based on this was asked in the form of case study. So you must know which bank was merged with which bank and what it led to the creation of. Try to understand. First of all, Oriental Bank of Commerce merged with UBI, right? Then it comes from PNB, Punjab National Bank. Then Andhra Bank plus Corporation Bank, Union Bank of India. Syndicate Bank, right, merged into Canara Bank, and Allahabad Bank merged into Indian Bank. So these mergers were driven by the need for financial stability and operational efficiency in an evolving economic landscape. If you look at the vision for Global India Bank, so you can see in the next part. So since 1990, India has been striving to create globally competitive bank that can stand fall on the international stage. So that is the point for vision for Global India Bank, right? So these merger align with that vision, ensuring Indian banks are equipped to handle global financial challenge. And now if we move toward privatization, so you can see privatization plays a very important role in banking reform. They are aiming to enhance the competitiveness, right? Reduce the government budgetary burden, improve overall performance. And then we have Narsimhan committee proposal. So basically a key recommendation in the India's banking reform, right? This was a key recommendation in the India's banking reform. This was a committee that suggested merging weaker bank to protect customer interest and build financially robust institution, right? So what was the rationale behind the merger? So the core reason driving this merger was the financial stability. This was the core reason. The first reason was financial stability. So basically strengthening balance sheet and capital basis. Second reason was was the efficiency, right? So optimizing resources and reducing redundancy. So with these strategic steps, India is building a stronger, more competitive banking sector that can efficiently serve its customer and boost economic growth. So what are your thoughts on this merger? Do you think that privatization will fully strengthen Indian bank? So basically this was a Narsimhan committee proposal, and based on it the same question was asked, that they suggested merger of bank to eliminate weaker bank, and it aimed at protecting customer interest. In the December examination this Narsimhan committee proposal was asked, right? And the rationale behind merger is to financial stability and increasing the efficiency. That is all you need to know about it. The next slide, let's move to the next slide. And friends, every successful organization rely on efficient HRM, which is built on three essential subsystems. So let's look at what are the three essential subsystems of HRM. The first is called administrative, second is called developmental, right, which is the focus of this unit, and the third is called maintenance. So administrative means handling policies. So whenever I say administrative, it means handling policies, it means handling procedures, right, and or it means handling compliance, policies, procedures and compliance under administrative. If you look at the developmental, it means focusing on employee growth, right? A developmental focus on employee growth. This is an important aspect of HRM. And growth as well as training, employee growth as well as training. This is the focus of this particular unit. And the last is maintenance, which means ensuring a positive work environment. That means work environment should be positive. So these are the three HRM subsystem, right? So basically if you look at the developmental subsystem, basically that is our main focus here. So at the heart of HRM like work, right, the driving force behind individual growth and organization success. So basically job analysis plays a pivotal role. Question is why is job analysis so crucial? Let's break it down. The first reason, it provides you deep insight into the job roles and expectations. It helps you identify key activities and the most suitable candidate for each role. And the last but not the least, it lays the foundation for a strategic HR function like recruitment, training and performance evaluation. So if we talk about the significance in HRM, that effective job analysis ensures that workforce efficiency, right? It ensures workforce efficiency and also organization success. And finally, a structured approach to HR strategy make role analysis a key pillar of HR management. So in short, we can say understanding HR subsystem and the role of job analysis can transform your workforce into well-oiled machine, driving productivity and business growth, right? So now let's look at the next topic that we have, that is mastering job analysis framework, which is a key to effective HR management. So every job in an organization has unique demand, and to ensure the right people are placed in the right role, we rely on three critical components of job analysis. The first is called job specification. So this defines the qualification needed for a job, which means a knowledge, means theoretical and practical understanding of the role. Skills, which means technical and soft skill required to perform tasks efficiently. Abilities, means innate capabilities and competencies. Educations and work experience, means academic background and professional expertise. And finally managerial experience, means leadership and decision making skill for senior roles. Second thing, we have job description, which means this outline what the job entails, what the job includes. Why, right? It includes job title, means a clear designation, job purpose, the core reason this job exists, duties and responsibility, means the key task and expectation, and finally the working condition. So you must know what are the things included under description, specification. Question may be asked that tell me knowledge exists under what? So you should know knowledge is a part of a specification. Working condition is a part of what? You should know it is a part of description. Job title is a part of description. Title, purpose, responsibilities, condition. So everything tells you that what the job consists of. And job specification is all about that the qualification needed for a job, what are the knowledge, what are the skill, what are the abilities which are needed for the job. And finally we have the job evaluation, which means here we assess the value of a job in the organization by looking at the job activities, which means that the main function performed in that job, relative importance, which means how crucial the roles is compared to the other. Qualifications means required certifications, training or license. Or finally the working condition, which means physical and mental demand of the role. So basically a well-structured job analysis framework ensure better recruitment, better performance management and workforce planning, leading to organization success. So this is all about this job analysis, which is presented in just one peek. It will help you revise the concept in very short time at just before the examination, right? Now let's look at the concept of learning, training and development. So friends, in today's fast-paced world, staying relevant require a deep understanding of these concepts. First of all, learning. You must know it, all these things. Basically, learning is all about gaining knowledge, developing a skill and shaping attitude to enhance understanding. Right. So whether it is formal education or experimental learning, this process is ongoing and crucial for success. The first aspect is the knowledge, which means expanding intellectual horizon. Second aspect is the skills. What is the meaning of skills? Which means practical application of learning. And finally we have attitude. Attitude means shaping perspective and behaviors. So skills, knowledge and attitude. Again I am repeating. Knowledge means expanding your intellectual horizon. Skills means practical application of learning, and attitude means shaping perspective and behavior. Right. So practical application, whatever you have learned, whether you are practically able to apply it or not, that is the skill. Knowledge means just intellectual horizon expanding, and attitude you know it very well. Second part we have is called training. What is training? So training is job specific and focus on enhancing the current performance. So if you are enhancing the current performance, right, that is called training. So, and you are preparing for the future role. It is a structured, it is structured and help professionals stay sharp in their field. What is the purpose? The purpose is to improve current job performance, current role performance, and to prepare for future job transition. The third is called development. What is development? Unlike training, development is continuous and voluntary process. You see, voluntary and continuous process, right? Because it involves deepening and broadening knowledge to prepare for bigger opportunity ahead. So core benefit is that it focuses on future career progression and also encourage continuous learning and adaptation. So this is learning, training, development, and the final thing we have is called education. You must know the difference between all these things. So education is broader than training and development. It fosters intellectual and professional growth. By providing a strong theoretical foundation. So intellectual growth means expanding thinking capability. Professional growth means strengthening expertise for career success. So a well-balanced approach to learning, training, development, education, it ensures that, it ensures sustained career growth and success. So that is the concept of learning, training, development and education. I hope that makes sense to you, right? So friends, now let's look at the 4 level of training evaluation. So what are the 4 level of training evaluation? So that is we called Kirkpatrick model of training evaluation, right? So first of all, training is not just about teaching, it's about ensuring learning translates to performance and organization success. So if we talk about the training, training is not about teaching. It simply means that learning, whatever you learn, that translate to performance and organization success. So that is the meaning of training. So there are different levels of training evaluation, right? So the first level we have is called level number 1, that is called reaction, that is called trainee perception. We can also call it trainee perception or reaction. So training starts with the first impression. How do trainee feel about their training? Was it engaging, relevant and useful? So here are some key focus area: the content, right, the training method, the training effectiveness, the training relevance and enjoyment. So why it matters? Because a positive perception encourages active participation and engagement. This is called reaction. There are 4 levels, and the first level of training is called reaction. Second level is called learning, which means knowledge and skill gain. So this level it measures actual learning. What did the trainee absorb? Did they gain new knowledge, skill or attitude? So how it is measured? There is something called pre and post training assessment. So there is something called pre-training assessment and there is something called post-training assessment. So because there is something called practical test and quizzes which is conducted. So why it matters? Because if learning does not happen, training effort are wasted. This step ensure growth in expertise. So the second level we have is called learning. First level was reaction, second level was learning, third level is called behavior. Behavior means what? That is called application at work. So training is successful only if it is applied in real world situation, right? Training is successful only if it is applied in real world situation, right? So this level check whether employee use their new skill at work. How it is measured? How this behavior is measured? So it is measured observing the behavioral change, means how behavior is getting changed. Feedback from supervisor and colleague. You take feedback from supervisor, you take feedback from colleague. So because knowledge is one thing, but applying is where the true value is created. That is called behavior. Means whatever you have learned, whether you are applying that at work or not, that is called behavior, right? So knowledge is one thing, but applying is where true value is created. And the final level we have is called functioning, which is called the organizational impact. Basically, this is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to measure how training impact business result. right? So how it is measured? We see the workplace productivity, we see the reduced error and increased efficiency, we see the improved customer satisfaction. So a training program is truly successful only when it improves the business performance, right? So this Kirkpatrick model ensures that training is not just an event but a transformation. What is your experience with the workforce training? Have you seen any impact? So friends, this way you can see this is the impact of our crash course program, that you are able to understand all these 4 levels in the simplest way possible. Level 1, again I'm repeating, reaction, learning, behavior and functioning, right? Now let's shift our focus and look at that attitude. Attitude is the core of behavior, right? So attitude is the persistent tendency to feel and behave in a particular way. So you can see it is a persistent tendency to feel and behave in a particular way. It influences how we react to the situation, people and challenges. But the question is, what form the attitude? Let's dive into the 3 components. The first is called emotional component. So it means the power of feeling. This is how you feel toward an object, person or situation, right? How do you feel toward an object? How do you feel toward a situation, right? It can be positive, it can be negative, or it can be neutral. So imagine working in a team. Your emotional response to your colleague affect productivity and collaboration. The second part is called informational component, which we call the knowledge is the key. So knowledge shapes perception. The more accurate and informed your belief, the stronger and more rational your attitude become. For example, if you believe in the benefits of a regular exercise, you are more likely to develop a positive attitude toward fitness, right? That is called the information component. Again I am repeating, emotional component means how you feel toward an object, person and situation. It can be positive, negative, or it can be directly impact organization behavior. Second topic I talked about the information component, which means the component what you know and believe about an object or situation, right? So knowledge shapes perception. So if you believe the benefit of exercise, so the more likely you to develop a positive attitude toward fitness. So the last thing we have is the characteristics. So basically attitude is not just momentary, they have a stability. The future of attitude defines how strong, how consistent, how resistant to this change it is. So deep rooted attitude. So there is something called deep rooted attitude. So the deep rooted attitude last longer and influence major life decision, and surface level attitude may change quickly with new experience. So your attitude is your greatest asset. It determines how you approach challenges, interact with people and seize opportunity. So the question is, what kind of attitude do you want to build? Please answer. Whether it is emotional component, which component is heavy in your attitude, that's the point. Now let's look at the function of attitude at work. So friends, ever wondered why attitude matter in the workplace? Well, they do much more than just shaping behavior. They serve key function, they like driving the success, collaboration and discipline. Let's explore them. So first of all, the topic is significance of attitude. So friends, if we talk about attitude is not just an individual trial, it's a workplace game changer. It affects how employees interact, respond to challenges and contribute to the organization culture. So there are 4 key functions of it, right? So attitude at work, let's break them one by one. So friends, if you are looking for any such kind of content where you can cover the videos, where you can cover the entire CIB content in very few hours, because time constraint everyone that face, and this crash course does the same. It saves your time. It provides you only that content that matters from your examination, nothing extra that have been asked in the last 3 to 4 years. I will provide that only content. Not only that, I will provide you quizzes for practice. I will provide you PDF for last minute revision purpose. All these things at just an affordable cost of rupees 800 only for all the 5 subjects. To get more detail regarding this crash course, you can WhatsApp me on this particular number. So friends, now let's shift our focus to what we were discussing. The first function is called adjustment function. So this function help employee adapt to their workplace environment, right? Adjustment means what? It help employee adjust to their workplace environment, right? So positive treatment from management leads to higher motivation, higher engagement, right? And when employee receive recognition and support, they develop a positive attitude toward the organization. Result, a happier, more productive workforce. Second is called ego defensive function, which means protecting self-image. That we all want to protect our self-esteem, right? But that is what this function does. It helps individuals justify their action and defend their self-worth. However, it can sometimes lead to negative attitude toward younger employee, creating workplace barrier instead of collaboration. So the moral of the story is that a healthy workplace mindset builds teamwork. The third function is called value expression function, which means living organization value. So this function helps in expressing deeply held value and reinforcing company culture. How? Because by enforcing a strict discipline, right? Means organization ensure professionalism and efficiency. It also reinforce organization value, making them a part of the daily life. That is called reinforcing the organization value. Organization thrive when employee align with the core value. And the last but not the least, we have the knowledge function, which means understanding the workplace. Ever wondered why people behave the way they do? This function supplies standards and reference points that help employee organize information and understand the world around them. Simply put, attitude helps us make sense of our work environment. So friends, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you behave at work impact your success, relationship and growth. So the question is, what attitude will you bring to work tomorrow? Right, so that is the point. Now let's shift our focus to our next point that we have. Right, so let's see the next concept that we have is the Erik Erikson 4 stages of adulthood. Right, so friends, ever wondered why do we evolve emotionally and mentally as we age? Well, our journey through adulthood is not just about growing older, it's about shaping our identity, relationship, legacy and self-reflection. So let's explore each and every stage of adulthood and how it impacts our career. So there are the 4 stages, and this was given by the Erik Erikson. Let's go through each and every stage. This is super important. So the first stage is called adolescence, which means ego identity formation. This means ego identity formation. It means who am I? So the foundation of adulthood begins right here. At this stage, individuals struggle with the self identity, right? They struggle with the self identity, right? So it means they reconcile their inner self perception with how the world sees them, right? This is called self identity. So why this is important? Because it shapes confidence, decision making, power, personal direction. Think back. Was there a time where you questioned who you are and where you belong? So that's the part of the stage. Sometimes you feel lonely and you feel that who am I, right? Where I do belong. That is called the adolescence stage. Second is called the young adulthood stage, which means relationship development, building bonds. As we step into adulthood, the focus shifts from self-identity to forming deep relationship, both personal and professional. This stage is all about trust, love and meaningful connection. Success in this phase leads to a strong lasting bond, while challenges can result in isolation and loneliness. The lesson is that the key to happiness is not just a career, it's the people we share our journey with. The third is called adulthood, which means guiding the next generation, leaving a legacy. As we move further in life, our focus shifts from personal growth to mentoring and guiding others. And the key aspect at this stage is sharing knowledge, right? Sharing wisdom, helping the next generation navigate challenges, contributing to the world in a meaningful way. Ever felt a sense of satisfaction from mentoring someone? That is this stage at work. True success is not just about what we achieve, it's about what we pass on. That is called adulthood stage. The next is called maturity stage. This is called ego integrity and reflection. That means finding the meaning, right? So this stage is all about looking back at life's journey and evaluating its purpose and fulfillment. Did we make the right choices? Have we found meaning in our career and relationship? So this phase determines our inner peace. Those who have lived with purpose and passion feel content, while others may struggle with regret. So lesson is that start making meaningful choices today so that you can look back with pride tomorrow. Then the final thing we have is a Levinson career transition theory. We will cover it in the next slide. So friends, I hope every stage of adulthood build upon the last, shaping who we are, who we become, embrace the journey, learn from the experience and make every phase count. That is all our Erik Erikson 4 stages. I hope this explanation help you remember the concept ever long lasting. You will never forget it. Right. Now, the Dalton, Thompson and Price model have been simplified in a single diagram. If you go through the book, it will cover in 1 page. And you don't know what to skip, what to cover. But I provide you with certain guidance. I provide you with a kind of that guarantee that if you go through this particular slide, nothing will be left out regarding this Dalton, Thompson and Price model. So friends, ever wondered why some people progress faster in their career while others struggle? It all comes down to the role we play at different stages of our professional life. According to the Dalton, Thompson and Price, there are 4 key career roles that define our growth. The first is called apprentice. Apprentice means learning and dependence. So everyone starts as an apprentice. The learning phase where we perform routine tasks under the supervision of mentor, right? So we rely heavily on our mentor for guidance. Our focus is on grasping the basics and building foundation session. The lesson is that never rush this stage. The stronger your foundation, the higher you will rise. The second stage is called the colleague, which means Independence and contribution, which means stepping up. Once we gain confidence, we transition into the colleague role. Here we start making independent contribution while still operating in subordinate role. So the key aspect of this stage is that you start handling tasks without constant supervision, right? And you gain recognition for your contribution. Ever felt the satisfaction of completing a project on your own? That is the transition to this phase. The third phase is called mentoring. So as experience build up, we step into leadership and responsibility. This is the mentor stage, where we manage teams and handle complex functions. So what changes in this role? You guide other, you just as someone guided you. You take on more strategic decision making responsibility. The lesson is that a true leader lifts other up. Your growth is not just about you, it's about helping others succeed. And the last stage is called a sponsor. A sponsor means a strategic leadership and influence. This is called the visionary role, right? This is called visionary role. So friends, at the peak of the career development, we reach the sponsor role. This is where true leaders shape the future of organization. You provide a strategic direction, you mentor future industry leader, you focus on long-term impact. Think about great leader. What set them apart? Their ability to inspire, influence and create lasting change. So friends, we all start as apprentice, but growth depends on how well we navigate each stage. The key to success: keep learning, take on responsibility and mentor others along the way. So which stage are you at in your career presently? Let me know in the comment, whether it is apprentice, colleague, mentor or sponsor, right? Please let me know which stage are you in currently, because this will help you if check me whether you have understood this concept clearly or not, right? Please let me know in the comment. So every aspect we are covering in this crash course, nothing is left out. If you cover all this content smoothly, you will be able to grasp at least 50 marks is secured for you, right? So now friends, we are diving into a topic that shapes the corporate world, drive decision making and determine success. Ever wondered why some leaders inspire and others intimidate? Why do some managers earn respect while others rely on authority? The answer lies in different types of power they hold. Let's talk about. The first is called, reflected power. Some kinds of leaders don't rise by their own merits, but because of their networks. This is the reflected power, right? It comes from connection and favoritism. So often seen in organization where matters more than what you know. Lesson is that networking is the key, but relying solely on connection won't build long-term credibility. Second is called charismatic power. So some leaders that does not need authority, they captivate and inspire. That is charismatic power. It is built on emotional appeal, extraordinary characteristics. So if you want to develop this, work on your confidence, storytelling and personal magnetism. The third is called legitimate power. Ever followed orders just because someone is the boss? That is legitimate power. Come from job title, come from hierarchy, right? It is a formal authority, CEO, manager, team builder, right? But here is the catch: position alone won't earn respect. It must be backed by leadership skill. The fourth is called the reward power. Reward power is called the power of incentive, which who does not love promotion, bonuses, perks? That is the reward power. Leader who control reward and benefit hold this power. It is an effective motivator. Employees work harder when they see incentive. But beware, over reliance on reward can make motivation short term and transactional. Then we have something called knowledge power, which knowledge is the power. Literally, leaders who know their field inside out hold knowledge power. It comes from education, it comes from experience, right? So expert command respect because they offer valuable insight. Then we have something called emotional power. The next power we have is called the emotional power. So ever worked with a leader who makes you feel valued and understood? Have you ever worked with a leader who make you feel valued and understood? Right. So that is that is the emotional power. It is built on trust, empathy, relationship. Leader who connect emotionally create loyal and motivated team. Right. And then we have the expert power, the power of mastery. So it is different from knowledge power. Expert power come from deep specialization. So it come from deep specialization. So it is ability to solve problem other can't. Think of industry pioneers. Their expertise give them the authority. The lesson is that become so skilled that people seek your advice. Then we have the referent power. So some leader don't lead a title or reward. They command influence through respect and admiration. So it comes from a strong ethics, authenticity and character. People choose to follow them because they inspire trust. Want this power? Be genuine, be ethical and always lead by example. And last but not the least, we have the coercive power. Let me show you. We have the coercive power. So coercive power, some leaders use threat and punishment to enforce authority. This is the coercive power. It's all about control through fear and consequences. While it may get short-term results, it damages long-term morale. So great leaders don't rely on just one type of power. They balance influence, expertise, reward and respect to create a positive and high performance environment. So that is all we have to know about this. In the next slide, let's look at the child ego stage. So friends, ever wondered why some people act playful in serious meeting, or why some individuals seek constant approval? It all boils down to the ego states. So that is what we are going to discuss, ego states, right? So, and understanding them can revolutionize how we communicate, especially in the workplace. So the first question is, what is this child ego stage? The child ego stage is one of the 3 ego stages in transactional analysis, right? And the psychological framework that explain how we interact with others. It is driven by, it is driven by emotions, creativity, instinct, right? So the first thing is called the adapted child, right? The first thing is called the adapted child. Adapted child means what? The approval seeker, which means some individual are rule follower. Some individual are there who are just a rule follower, right? So they seek approval and comply with societal norms to fit in and avoid conflict. Some individual are just rule follower. For example, a team member who always agree with the boss even when they have a different opinion, right? Some individual are there, a team member who always agree with the boss even when they have a different opinion. The impact is that this can be helpful in maintaining harmony, but too much compliance may lead to lack of innovation. So a lesson is that a balance between compliance and independent thinking is the key, right? So this is called adapted child, the approval seeker. Second is called the natural child, who has the free spirit, which means, ever meet someone who radiate pure joy and spontaneity? That is the natural child. That is called the ego state, right? This is called, ego state. So basically they embrace creativity, curiosity and fun. They don't care about rules. They just express themselves freely. For example, the employee who bring energy to the workplace, cracking jokes in meeting, keeping things light-hearted. So impact is that while spontaneity fosters innovation, it may needs to be channeled appropriately in professional setting. So let creativity flow, but be mindful of the content. And the next we have is the little professor, which means the creative thinker. So little professor is a mix of playfulness and intelligence. This child is not just curious but also a problem solver. They experiment, question and innovate. They look at problem differently and come up with unique solution. For example, a team member who finds unconventional solution to challenges, thinking out of the box. So this is the powerful asset in business, as creative problem solving leads to breakthrough. And then now let's shift our focus to the next topic we have. Let's move on to the transaction analysis. Now that we know the child ego state, let's connect it to transaction analysis, which is called TA. There are 2 types of transaction. The first is called, complementary transaction. So basically, when communicate flow smoothly, it's complementary transaction. It leads to clear understanding. It leads to, productive discussion, right? Example, a manager giving constructive feedback and the employee respond positively, resulting in growth and learning. The second part is called the cross transaction. This is the root of miscommunication. Miscommunication happen because of the cross transaction. So it happens when a response does not match expectation. For example, a boss give the feedback. Suppose the boss is there. Just wait a minute. Suppose boss is there. He give the feedback, but the employee start reacting defensively from a child ego state, leading to a communication breakdown. So if not managed well, conflict arise, affecting morale and teamwork. So understanding child ego state and transaction analysis help us to communicate more effectively. So I hope that makes sense to you. Effective communication happens in the case of complementary transaction. Cross transaction causes communication breakdown. Now let's shift our focus to our next topic. So friends, have you ever wondered why some people are incredibly self-aware while others struggle with feedback, or why personal growth seems effortless for some but challenging for others? So first of all, let's talk about the self-awareness. What is self-awareness? So self-awareness is the foundation of personal and professional success. It helps us understand strength and weakness. It allows us to improve relationship and decision making. So there is something called SWOT analysis, that is called strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. So as a strength for a strength. A strength means what you are naturally good at. W means weakness, means where do you need improvement. Opportunity means what changes can you seize for growth. And threat means what obstacle might hold you back. For example, a professional might have a strong communication skill, that is a strength, but struggle with time management, that is the weakness, right? So the self-reflection help you capitalize on your strength and work on your weak area. Second thing is Johari window mode, very important, right? Developed by Luft and Ingham, 1973. The Johari window reveals different aspects of your personality. The first is called arena. Arena means open self, known to you, known to both you and other. It builds transparency and trust. Second is called the blind spot, which means blind spot means they are known to other but not known to you, that you need feedback to improve. The third is called hidden or private self, which is known to you but not unknown to other. It requires self disclosure. And the finally we have the dark which is called unknown self, unknown to both you and the other. This is your potential for discovery. For example, a person may not realize they have a great leadership potential. So that is called blind spot. He did not realize that they have a great leadership potential, right? While other point it out. So seeking feedback unlock hidden strength and improve self-awareness. Now let's look at the expanding the arena. So friends, to truly develop ourselves, we must expand our own self. This happens through receiving feedback, self-disclosure, sharing thought and feeling to build connection, and openness to ideas, welcoming new perspective and continuous learning, right? Accept and constructive criticism with an open mind. For example, a manager who actively listen to feedback and share their own experience create a more transparent and productive workspace. So that is called the expanding the arena. You receive feedback, you go for self-disclosure, you get openness to the ideas. So by combining SWOT analysis, jury window, and expanding the arena, you can become more self-aware, enhance your talent management dynamic. Imagine an organization as a target where success depends on hitting the bullseye, acquiring, managing, retaining top talent, right? But here is the challenge. The gap between demand and supply of skilled professionals is growing wider day by day. So talent management is no longer just about hiring. It's about strategically developing and keeping the right people to drive business. There are 3 C's. The first C is called competence. Competence means what? The mind that fill ability and expertise. Second is called commitment, means the hand and feet that takes action. And the last is contribution, which means the heart that ensures excellence in executions, right? So basically, but there is a shift which is happening, that organization loyalty change. So employee expectations are evolving and companies must adapt to retain their best talent. But there is a challenge, right? Talent acquisition and retention have become critical concern for every business. The question is, how do we tackle them? Right. Now let's shift our focus to our next topic. That is what we have, evolution and the key aspect of talent management. Every aspect have been written in this particular slide. Talent management have evolved over the year, shaping how organizations attract, develop and retain the top talent. But where did it all begin? So the origin is, the foundation of talent management was laid by McKinsey and Company 1997 and further refined by Chamber et al. 1998. They highlighted the war for talent, a battle that organizations still fight today. This is called the war for talent. So in today's competitive landscape, finding a skilled employee is not enough. Retaining them requires well-structured strategy. Companies that fail to adapt lose their best talent to competitor, right? So there is something called core activity. So there is the backbone of talent management lies in the core activity. First of all, succession planning, which means preparing future leaders. Second is called assessment development, which means assessment and development, which means investing, which means nurturing the potential. And the third is what we call high potential employee management, which means investing in top performer. So success in talent management depends on anticipating workforce need. First of all, you anticipate what will be the workforce needs, right? And then you do the strategic planning, right? You anticipate workforce need, you do some strategic planning, right? And organization must think ahead to ensure long-term success. It is not just about finding the right people, it's about keeping them engaged, motivated and aligned with business goal, right? Now friends, so this is all about how it originated, what is their core activities, what is the meaning of war for talent, and what should be the key focus now. Now let's look at the strategic talent management. So friends, in today's fast-paced world, talent management is not just a function, it's a strategic necessity for organization for long-term success. So the key business benefit that they get from talent management is the revenue growth, right? A skilled employee drive profitability, customer satisfaction. So engaged teams delivers better services, quality and productivity. Higher efficiency leads to better output, cost efficiency and capitalization. So retaining talent reduces hiring cost. And if we talk about the purpose and importance, so why does it matter? Because talent management is not just about hiring, it's also about aligning talent with strategy and leveraging HR planning as a science to build sustainable business growth. So if we talk about the core of talent management, so defining talent need, why do we need talent need? What understanding the key success factor, understanding overcoming the real challenges and ensuring the employee retention. There are 3 pillars of talent management. The first is called acquiring talent, which means finding the right fit for the right role. Second is called developing talent, which means enhancing skill for future growth. And the last is retaining talent, which means keeping top performer engaged and motivated. So conclusion is that talent management is not just about people, it's about business success, it's about competitive advantage, it's about the long-term growth. So the question is your organization prepared to harness its full potential? Now let's look at the last topic of today's session, that is the talent management paradox and key element. So talent management is the backbone of every successful organization, but here is the catch, it is facing a paradox. See, the talent supply and demand paradox. What it means? On one hand, the supply of skilled talent is decreasing, while on the other hand, the demand for top professionals is skyrocketing. So this creates a major challenge for business worldwide. So how do organizations tackle this? So there is something called, retention. So there are 5 key elements of, so basically there is something called retention strategies, which means keeping top performer engaged in no longer is choice, it is a necessity. Second point is the sustainable growth. Means business must create long-term strategy to balance demand with the available talent. But that is not all. Effective talent management requires a strong foundation that is built on these 5 key elements. First of all, attracting the right talent, which means the battle of top talent is fierce. Company must position themselves as a desirable employer. Second is called onboarding, which means a seamless integration process ensure new hires feel valued and engaged from day number 1. Third is called creating a talent pool, means organization must proactively build a pipeline of skilled professional for future need. The fourth is called designing career path, means employees stay where they see growth. Structured career planning is the key. And the fifth step is called retaining talent, which means retention is not about perks alone, it's about culture, leadership, opportunity. So remember these 5 key elements of talent management. This can be asked: attracting the right talent, onboarding, creating a talent pool, designing career path, and retaining talent. So the talent wall is real. So question may be asked that which one of the following is not a key element of talent management? You should know the 5 key elements, right? How many elements are there? 5 elements are there. What are they? Just on your screen. So the talent war is real. Companies that master these elements, that attracting, onboarding, talent pool, designing career path, retaining talent. So companies that master these elements will thrive, innovate, and stay ahead of the curve. So friends, that's all for this particular topic. Nothing to read extra. If you cover this much, that is enough. Somewhere question have been asked previously, is being presented in the pictorial format in the form of flowchart. So let's get started with our first topic, that is based on personality. So have you ever wondered what truly shape our personality? It is just our thought and feeling or something deeper. So today let's unlock the mystery of personality and its fascinating theory. So according to the Salvatore Maddi, so you can see in this picture we are talking everything about personality. So according to Salvatore Maddi, he says that personality is built on a stable trait. It is built on a stable trait, right? It is built on a patterns of thought and feelings and actions that remain consistent over the time. So it is based on patterns of thoughts, feelings, action that remain consistent over the time. So while we all share certain commonality, what makes us unique is those traits, how those traits endure despite external pressure, right? So what I'm telling you, that while we all share certain commonalities are there with all, but what makes us unique is how these traits endure despite external pressure, right? So that is the definition by Salvatore Maddi. Now friends, but here is something interesting. Personality does not change overnight, right? It evolves gradually. You can see it evolves gradually. It is influenced by our values, our experience, our emotion. So this slow transformation shape who we become little by little. If you look at the practical insight, so just now I have told you that something interesting, that personality does not change overnight. It evolves gradually, influenced by our values, experience, emotions, right? And if you look at the practical insight of it, here you can see basically, and why does this matter? Because in the professional world, understanding personality is a game changer. Managers use this dimension to predict the behavior. Right? Forecast action and make better decision. So mastering the concept can give you an edge in leadership and self-growth. If you want to explore more about how personality influences success, stay tuned for the next slide, right? And let's move to the next slide that we have. So we know the personality. Now let's move to the theories explaining personality. Very, very important thing. So friends, have you ever wondered what makes you? Yes, is it your habit, is it your emotion, or is it something deeper? So today we will explore the fascinating world of personality and the theory that explain it. Everything has been presented in the form of this particular flow diagram, which help you recall the concept easily during the time of examination. And that is what we do in our crash course. For each and every unit, I have prepared PDF in such format so that you can easily retain it for the longer time. So friends, the question is, psychologists have long tried to decode personality, and two major theories stands out. First, we have something called, Raymond Cattell's trait theory, right? And it tells us that personality is a pattern of permanent trait. It tells us that personality is a pattern of permanent trait. So the key word here is permanent. Traits are permanent, right? But these traits are like building blocks. These traits are like building blocks that shape our behavior, making us who we are. But personality is not just about traits, right? Async theory of personality. Async theory of personality takes a different approach. He identified two primary dimensions. What are the two primary dimensions he identified? So he identified something called extraversion. You see, extraversion and neuroticism. What it means? Try to understand. Extraversion means how outgoing, how reserved we are, right? How outgoing or how reserved we are. That is called extraversion, right? And neuroticism means what? How emotionally stable or anxious we tend to be, right? How emotionally anxious or anxious or stable we tends to be. And then come the classic debate, right? Type A and type B personality profile. So type A are restless and type A are impatient. They always chasing quick achievement, right? So they always chase quick achievement. So their perfectionist tendency push them to excel, but can also bring stress. But if you talk about the type B, they are on the other hand relaxed, easygoing, less concerned with time pressure. They take life at a steady pace, often leaning toward a more philosophical outlook. So understanding personality is not just theory, it is a tool. Whether you are a student, leader, entrepreneur, knowing this personality trait can help you work better with others, improve decision making, and even boost your personal growth. So for examination point of view, also remember this thing can be asked. And friends, if you want such kind of PDF for each and every subjects, proper explanation like this, you can enroll in our crash course. In crash course, first of all, we provide you videos through which you can understand the key points. After just attempting, so going through the videos, you go to solve mock test, you go to solve the quizzes, right? You see whether you are able to attain at least 60% marks or not. If not, then you again read the theory and again attempt the quiz. This way we do self-assessment on daily basis and we improve on daily basis. That is the main motive of crash course. We only covering only those things that matters to us. For more detail regarding this crash course, feel free to WhatsApp me on this particular number. In the description of this video, you will see the link also. Now friends, let's move forward to the next concept that we have. So which personality type do you relate to more, type A or type B? Let me know in the comment. So I think the type A and type B is clear, concept is clear, extraversion, neuroticism is clear, and Remel-Cattell's trait theory is also clear. Okay, now friends, let's move to the third page of this slide, third slide of this PDF, and we are discussing, have you ever wondered what truly drives human behavior? Have you ever wondered what drives human behavior? Why do we sometimes act on impulse while at the other time we hold ourselves back? The answer lies in psychoanalytical theory, and this is a very fascinating concept that not only explain human personality but also shape workplace dynamics. So friends, imagine your mind as a key ring where different keys represent different forces controlling your action. Let's unlock them one by one. First of all, we have ID. Alright, ID means what? The most primary force. This is the most primal force. We call it, we call it the most primal force. Right? So it is all about instant gratification. It's all about the pleasure. Think of a child who want candy now. Think of a child who want candy now. That is ID. Then comes ego. This is the mediator between the desire and the reality, right? It's like, let me zoom a little bit so that the picture, the slide, the font is clear to you. Okay, I hope it is clear now. So if we talk about the ego, basically it's kind of mediator between the ID and reality. It ensures that we act in a socially acceptable way, right? So the key point you must know, socially acceptable behavior. Like when you want to yell at your boss but choose to remain calm. Sometimes you want to yell at your boss, right? But you choose to remain calm. That is your ego. Then comes super ego. Super ego means your inner moral compass. It guides you to do the right thing even when no one is watching. That is called super ego. But here is a real challenge. Balancing these forces. If the ID overpower, we become reckless. If the super ego dominate, we may suppress our need too much. And that is where interrelation comes in. That is where this interrelation comes in. Basically, maintaining equilibrium for a stable personality. We should maintain equilibrium between our ID, ego and super ego. But why does this matter at work? Because psychoanalytical theory, right, helps leaders and employees understand workplace behavior. It explains why some people are impulsive decision maker while others are cautious planner. It shed lights on conflict, motivations and leadership style. And understanding these psychological forces can transform the way organization operate, helping team work more effectively. So what do you think? Which force influences you the most? ID, ego or super ego? Let me know in the comment. Friends, I hope that this concept is clear now. The main concept, if you go through the book, you will see multiples of line written there, and most of them are not useful from examination point of view. Only thing that matters from examination point of view had been written here. No need to read extra thing. Just remember these things, that who gave this theory, right, and what this theory is all about. Then comes, the next theory we have is called trait theory. Very, very important, right? So friends, have you ever wondered why some people are natural leader while others prefer to stay in the background, or why some are aggressive while others are calm? Well, the answer lies in the trait theory of personality. So you can think of personality as a key ring, right, where each key represents a trait that shape who we are. First of all, the core concept. Basically, our personality is not random, right? It is shaped by traits that we inherit from birth. Basically, the trait that we inherit from the birth, it shapes our personality. This is the key point, right? So that is why some characteristics seems to run in family. Now friends, let's talk about something called personality explanation. So no two people are exactly the same. No two people are exactly the same. While we all share some common trait, each of us has unique combination that makes us special. Let me give you some example of traits. Like, some people are naturally aggressive, some people are loyal, some people, have a great sense of humor, right? And that these traits define how we interact with the world. Now there is something called, behavioral interpretation. What is the meaning of this behavioral interpretation? See, but here is the real impact. Our trait determine how we behave. Whether someone is confident or submissive, outgoing or reserved, it all comes down to their dominant trait. So that is called behavioral interpretation. I am again repeating the point that, our trait determine how we behave, right? So this trait plays a very important role in our behavior. How we behave depends on our trait, right? So whether someone is confident or submissive, outgoing or reserved, it all comes down to their dominant trait. So understanding trait theory help us, decode behavior at work, in relationship, and even in leadership. If we recognize our strength and weakness, we can make conscious choice to improve and grow. So what is one trait that defines you the most? Are you a natural leader? Are you a thinker? Or life of the party? Let me know in the comment. And don't forget to stay tuned for more insight on personality psychology, right? Let's move forward. Now friends, we have another important theory, and let's make it clear. Very, very important, friends. So friends, did you know that your brain has two sides, and each side play a completely different role in shaping who you are? Let's dive into how the brain influences personality and behavior. So our brain is divided into left side and right hemisphere, right? Each controlling different aspect of our personality. So first of all, let's look at the left hemisphere. So left hemisphere, it's called the logical side. L for left, L for logical. It's called the logical side. It is responsible for speech and verbal function, which means that is why we use it for talking and writing. Second thing, it handles the logical reasoning, which means which is perfect for solving math problem and making rational decision. The third point is sequential processing, means it loves order and step by step thinking. That is called sequential processing. If you go to the right hemisphere, right hemisphere, the creative side, we can call it the creative side in simple word. This one was logical, while the right is called creative side. So basically, it control our spatial ability. What it control? It control spatial ability, which means it help you recognize faces and navigate through places. Right? When I say spatial ability, it helps you recognize faces and it helps you navigate through places. It helps you navigate through places. Right? Second, we have is called musical ability, which means if you love music, thank your right brain. It is emotional responses. So which means making you laugh, cry or feel empathy. But that is not all. The brain also plays a huge role in personality through biological influence. There are some biological influence also. So friends, what is the meaning of biological influence? You must have heard about ESB. What is ESB? Electrical stimulation of the brain. So scientists have discovered that stimulating different ideas of the brain can influence emotion, creativity and even reduce stress. Scientists have discovered that stimulating different areas of the brain can influence emotion, creativity and even reduce stress. So there is a psychology which we call split brain psychology. Let me explain that. So you will see here split brain psychology. Basically, split brain psychology is a studies on people with a split brain. They reveal how the left and right brain function independently, making it one of the most fascinating discoveries in neuroscience. So friends, understanding how our brain works help us improve communication, decision making, creativity, plus knowing your dominant side can help you unlock your true potential. So are you more of a logical thinker or a creative genius? Let me know in the comment, and don't forget to like the video, because if it really adds values to you, If you think that this concept which I am presenting in this format, it really had value, it will surely help before the examination, revising the important points in a nutshell, and that gives you more time for practice. Our main motive of the crash course is that you should devote at least 80% of your time to MCQs practice and quizzes practice, and 20% to just theory. And this theory portion is taken care of by this kind of slides. Right, now let's look at the next part that we have. So the next table, which is taken from your Macmillan book, let's understand it. Very important. Question is, have you ever wondered why some people thrive in hand-on job while others excel in problem solving or social work? Well, it's all about matching personality with the right job. Let's explore. So this is called, Holland typology of personality, right? And find out where you fit in. So according to the Holland's theory, different personality type are naturally suited for different career. So first of all, let's talk about the realistic. This is called the doers. So basically, they prefer physical activity requiring a skill. Strength and coordination, right? So personality trait includes, shy, persistent, stable, practical, and conforming. And the best fit career for this, is mechanic, drill press operator, farmer, or assembly line worker, right? This is called realistic, means the doers: shy, genuine, persistent, stable, conforming, and practical. Then we have something called investigative type personality, which means the thinker. So we can call them the thinker, right? Basically, they love activities involving thinking, organizing, understanding. So such kind of personality to be analytical, original, curious, and independent. Right, so best fit career is biologist, economist, mathematician, and news reporter. So they are thinker. The third kind of type is, let's move to the next slide. So the third kind of side is called social, which means the helper. So in simple word, we can say social means the word helper. Basically, they enjoy helping others, they cooperating, understanding people. So they are sociable, friendly, cooperative, and understanding. And best fit career is social worker, teacher, counselor, clinical, psychologist. Then we have something called conventional. So conventional means what? So basically, if we talk about the conventional, which is the organizer, we can call them in single word, they are organizer, which means they enjoy structured rule-based tasks with clarity and order. So that is efficiency, conforming, practical, right, unimaginative, and bank teller, right? So best fit career is accountable, corporate manager. Then we have something called enterprising. Enterprising means the leaders. So in simple word, in one word, we can say enterprising means what? Leaders. So basically, leaders, they love verbal communication. They love influencing others to achieve goal. And the personality trait is self-confident, ambitious, energetic, and domineering. And the best fit career is lawyer, real estate agent, public relations specialist, and a small business manager. And then we have something called artistic. Artistic, we call the creators. So they thrive in creative, unstructured environment that encourage expression. Personality trait, imaginative, idealistic, emotional, impractical. And the best fit career is painter, musician, writer, interior decorator. So choosing a career that aligns with your strength can make your work exciting and fulfilling. So which type are you? Drop your personality type in the comments. So I have talked you about almost 6 types. So drop which matches your personality. Now friends, let's move to the next slide. And in the next slide, what we are going to discuss, very important thing. Let's discuss it. Friends, workplace safety is not just a necessity, it's a fundamental right. But did you know that India has a strong legal framework to protect women from sexual harassment at the work? Let's break it down in simple and powerful way. The fight for, in this slide, everything will be clear. The fight for women's safety at the workplace has led to a structured legislative framework. First of all, let's talk about the Supreme Court directive. It defines sexual harassment clearly. Supreme Court defines sexual harassment clearly, right? It laid down guidelines for handling incident at workplace. So there is something called POSH Act, and question based on is asked most frequently, right? POSH, POSH Act, which means Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, full form. So it is passed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha before receiving the presidential assent, right? And the full title is the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, that is called Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. When it was launched, 2013 it was launched, right? Remember the date, question is asked, what is the full form, right? POSH Act. Now the next point is very important, which I am going to talk now. There is section called section 34 IPC. So, and criminal law amendment, right? It strengthened legal provision for workplace safety. Punishment is for 1 to 3 years of imprisonment and fine. You can see punishment of 1 to 3 year imprisonment or fine. So with law in place, workplace must actively enforce them to ensure women feel safe, respected and empowered. So do you think that these laws are enough? Drop your thought in the comment. Now friends, let's move forward and let's look at the next point that we have to discuss is the scientific management and its critics. So friends, have you ever wondered who engineered the way modern industry work? Meet F.W. Taylor, the father of scientific management. His groundbreaking ideas shaped efficiency and productivity, but not without criticism. Let's dive into. First thing, let's talk about the core principle of the scientific management. What is the core principle? So work should be studied scientifically for maximum efficiency. That is the meaning core principle. Work should be studied scientifically for maximum efficiency. And this efficiency prescription and differential piece rating, very, very important. Try to understand. Efficiency prescription we talk about, and something called differential piece rate system. Question is asked based on this. What is the meaning of differential piece rate system? See, it pay worker based on output to boost productivity. Means worker adhere to prescription if offered higher pay based on output. Means how much output they deliver, based on that they get payment. That is called differential piece rate system. This is the part and parcel of the scientific management. There is something called rational economic view. Right, it focus on economic gains. You can see it focus on economic gains. Worker are motivated primarily by financial incentive. That is the motto of the rational economic view. Now friends, let's talk about the criticism also. Criticism, if we talk about, so remember F.W. Taylor, he is called the father of scientific management, efficiency method, motivation theory. Right, now if you look at the criticism, so first thing is that dehumanizing worker, which means treating them like a machine. Oversimplify human behavior, means it ignores creativity, it ignores emotion, it ignores social needs. That is called simplistic human behavior. And this rival hypothesis is most frequently asked question. Whatever we are covering in this slide are super important. Please don't overlook anything. Please don't underestimate the importance of these things, because they will be frequently asked. We have collected it for the last 5 years. We have seen the paper, at least like the last 4 paper we have seen the paper, and based on that we are producing such kind of material before you, right? So now let's talk about the rival hypothesis. It assumes that workers are naturally inefficient and must be controlled, right? That is called money driven motivation ignores other need. That is called rival hypothesis. Means what? It assumes that workers are naturally inefficient and they must be controlled. So why it matter? Because Taylor's idea revolutionized industry, but the critics argue that they reduce worker to mere productivity tools. Is efficiency worth sacrificing human needs? Please let me know. What do you think? Should workplace prioritize efficiency or employee well-being? What do you think? Drop your thought in the comment. And this is all the scientific management is all about. Now let's shift our focus to our next topic that we have, Hertzberg two-factor job theory. So friends, ever wondered why some people love their job while others dreads Monday? The secret lie in Hertzberg two-factor theory, a game changer in workplace motivation. The two-factor theory that shape your workplace. The first factor is called hygiene factor. If you talk about the hygiene factor, it means job dissatisfaction factor. So those won't make you love your job, but their absence can make you hate it, right? So these factors won't let you love your job, but if they're not present, they will make you, they will make you hate the job. The first thing is company policy and supervision. So poor leadership, obviously it is frustrating. Then comes, salary and job security, right? We all need stability. Then we have personal life, working condition. So stress at work means stress at home. Simple. If you have a stress at work, obviously you will have a stress at home. Then next thing we have the interpersonal relation with supervisor. If it is toxic colleague, then means major turnoff will be there. So basically these are the factors which are covered under the hygiene factor. So fixing these issues only prevent dissatisfaction but does not guarantee motivation. If you fix these issues, if you fix stress, if you fix working condition, so this will only prevent dissatisfaction. It will not cause dissatisfaction, but it will not improve motivation. But on the other hand, we have some motivational factor, right? These make work exciting, fulfilling, and worth working for. The first is recognition and achievement, means everyone love appreciation, right? Then comes advancement and responsibility, which means growth keep us engaged. Then there is the possibility of growth. No progress, no passion. Work itself, which means loving what you do is the ultimate motivator. So these factors drive employee to go above and beyond. So a perfect job is not just about a fat paycheck, it's about growth, recognition, meaningful work. So what is your top motivator at work? Let us know in the comment. So remember the difference. Question is asked, which of the following factor is a motivator factor, which of the following factor is a hygiene factor. So you must know this factor, right? Friends, now let's shift our focus to the next slide that we have, and here we are talking about the ERG theory. Friends, ever feel stuck in life, unable to move forward? That because our need drive our action. right? And it was given by, Clatter Elderford. Our need, they drive our action, right? So that is, let's break down the Clatter Elderford org theory, which simplify human motivation in three core needs. It simplifies human motivation in three core needs. Let's simplify it. First of all, org theory is a refined take on Maslow hierarchy. Org stands for existence need, relatedness needs, and growth needs, right? What is the full form of org? E for existence, which means basic survival and security. R for relatedness. Relatedness means what? Relatedness means social relationship. It means social relationship, right? And what is the meaning of existence? So existence, I told you, basic survival. It is called basic survival, right? And security. And what about the growth? What is the meaning of growth? Growth means personal and professional development. But here is the twist. We don't follow these in a strict order. If one need is not met, we shift focus to another. That is where the frustration regression dimension comes in. Let's look at the first dimension. That is called, frustration regression dimension. So, when we struggle to fulfill a higher level need, growth is a higher level need. So when we struggle to fulfill the growth, we fall back to lower level need. What is the lower level need? Like security, like relationship. For example, a person feeling stuck in career growth may start seeking more social connection for fulfillment instead. So why this theory matter? Unlike Maslow rigid pyramid, org theory is flexible, org theory is realistic. It explains why people may switch priority in different life stage. So what is the driving your motivation? So existence means basic survival, relatedness means desire for social relationship, and the most important is the growth need, right? So that is the org theory. So Maslow pyramid is very rigid. We will talk about the Maslow pyramid in upcoming slide. Maslow pyramid is very rigid, but this org theory is flexible. Sometimes differentiation is asked, right? Org theory explains why people may switch priority in the different life stage. So what is driving your motivation right now? Drop a comment below. Is it existence? Is it relatedness? Or is it growth? Please let me know in the comment. Friends, now let's switch our focus to the job design. In a single slide, I have explained everything. That's the beauty of this crash course, right? So friends, ever feel stuck in a monotonous job? The same routine, the same task day after day. Well, what if we told you that job can be redesigned to be more engaging, more challenging, more fulfilling? Let's explore job design strategy that break the cycle of boredom and boost productivity. So friends, first thing we have something called job enlargement. It means expanding job role to diversify skill and make tasks more varied. For example, instead of only handling customer query, an employee may also be involved in sales reporting, right? So employee is also involving in sales reporting. So when I say job enlargement means we are expanding our job role, right? And make tasks more varied. That is called job enlargement. For example, suppose instead of only handling customer query, an employee may also involve in sales reporting. This is called job enlargement. You are assigned another task. Then the second point we have is the job enrichment, which means adding depth to the job by increasing challenges, by increasing creativity to make more employee feel more responsible. Let me give you an example. Suppose giving an employee decision making authority. Suppose you give an employee decision making authority. What will happen? Rather than just executing the task, instead of just executing the task, you give the employee decision making authority. So what happened? Challenge get increased. It enhances the creativity. And third is called job rotation, which means shifting employee between different roles to prevent boredom and increasing flexibility. So for example, suppose there is an accountant. He might rotate between budgeting, auditing, financial analysis to build expertise. So the question is why do we need to redesign the job? Because it makes work more challenging, more creative. It increases responsibility and growth. It enhances job satisfaction. So sometimes question is asked, which of the following is an example of job enlargement? Which of the following is an example of job enrichment? You should know this thing, right? Now friends, let's look at this particular slide. So basically, have you ever felt overwhelmed, confused or frustrated in your job? Sometimes it's not just the workload, but the conflict within the role that make the work stressful. Let's uncover the different types of role set conflict. We are going to see what are the different types of role set conflict and how they impact workplace performance. So there are main 5 types which we must go through. We must understand the difference between them. So why, first of all, there's something called resources inadequacy. When you don't have enough tools, budget or to support your performance you don't have budget, you don't have tools, you don't have support to perform effectively. Imagine being asked to build a house without bricks. Is it possible? Obviously not. right? Now second thing is called role ambiguity. When expectations are unclear, leaving employee uncertain about their responsibility. So lack of role expectation, it leads to uncertainty. Let me give you one example. Suppose, have you ever started a task without knowing what exactly was expected? That is called role ambiguity. Suppose you started a task, you don't know what was expected, what exactly was expected from you. So since you don't know what was expected, so it will cause role ambiguity. You just started the task, you don't know what was expected out of you, and this is called role ambiguity. The third kind we have is called, role expectation conflict. What's the meaning of this role expectation conflict? See, it means that, when different stakeholders having contradictory demand, it creates confusion. So different stakeholders are there, they have contradictory demand. For example, your manager wants speed, right? But your client demand perfection, right? So how do you balance them? This is called role expectation conflict. So whenever I say role expectation conflict, it means what? When different stakeholders have contradictory demand, creating confusion. Your manager wants speed, but your client demand perfection. How can you balance both of them? This is called, role expectation conflict. The fourth thing we have is called role overload. What is the meaning of role overload? This question was asked in the December examination. When excessive work pressure drain an individual time, energy. Work pressure is huge and it drain your time, it drain your energy. That is called role overload. You can think of an employee juggling too many tasks, leading to burnout. And finally, we have something called role erosion, right? After role overload, we have something called, role erosion. So basically, when responsibility diminishes, making employee feel undervalued. So sometimes, responsibility decrease, it leads to undervaluation. So suppose if your key tasks are handled to someone else. Suppose you were performing the task of cash handling, and the same task is given to some other person. This is called, role erosion. So how motivated would you feel? So basically, unresolved role conflict means lower productivity and job dissatisfaction. And if you address them, more engaged, more efficient, and more happy workforce will become. Right? I hope each and every role conflict is clear now. What are the different role conflict that we face? So that is the same. Now the last slide we have. Let me move to the next slide. Yes, this is Maslow hierarchy theory. Very, very important. So basically, this is called Maslow hierarchy. There are 5 steps in it. First is called self-actualization, which means a pursuit of personal growth and fulfillment. Second, we have the esteem need, which means recognition, self-respect, development. Then we have social need, which means desire. It means the desire for personal belonging and professional bonds. Then we have safety need, which means job security, protection from harm. And finally, we have the basic need, which means, essential survival and working. So friends, that is all you need to know from this particular chapter. If you go through the book, there are many things given, but from examination point of view, whatever we have covered in this particular video is more than sufficient. Reward system. So friends, let's get started with our first topic, that is the climate survey. Have you ever wondered what truly shapes the work environment in an organization? Is it leadership? Is it teamwork? Or is it policy? The answer lies in combination of multiple factors, and that is exactly what a climate survey uncovers. So first of all, let's talk about the climate survey. So climate survey is more than just a questionnaire, right? If we talk about the climate survey, it is more than just a questionnaire. So it is a powerful tool that helps organizations measure and improve their workplace culture, right? It is a powerful tool that helps organizations measure and improve their workplace culture. Right, but what exactly does it cover? Let's dive into key focus area. The first thing is cover its support. What is the meaning of support? Basically, a positive work environment starts with a support. This includes how helpful managers are and how well colleagues support one another. A strong support system fosters collaboration and boosts the morale. Second thing is called standards. So every organization thrives on performance goal and quality expectation. Right, so employee need clear benchmark to align their effort with the company's success. That is called performance goal. So basically, every organization thrive on performance goal and quality expectation. Employee need clear benchmark to align their effort with the company's success. Third thing we have is called structure. So rules and regulations form the backbone of any organization. A well-defined decision-making hierarchy ensure a smooth operation and clarity in responsibility. Right, so the structure means rules and regulation form the backbone of any organization, and a well-defined decision-making hierarchy ensure a smooth operation and clarity in responsibility. Next, we have responsibility. So role clarity, accountability, very crucial for a productive workforce. When employees know their role, they perform better, they take ownership of their task. Next is the warmth. Warmth means, a great workplace is not just about policy. It's about what? It's about people, right? So camaraderie and team bonding creates an environment where employees feel valued and motivated. It leads to constructive solution, not workplace conflict, right? So this is called the impact of having a proper conflict resolution. Then we have something called risk. Risk is also a part of this. So what is the meaning of risk? So risk means innovation thrive on calculated risk. So here you can see the word written, calculated risk. Innovation always thrives on calculated risk, right? A balance between taking risk and maintaining safe preference ensure steady work without unnecessary setback. And finally we have reward. Reward means recognition and fairness are key to employee satisfaction. When efforts are appreciated, motivation soars and productivity will follow. Then we have something called survey variability, which means organizations are dynamic and so is their climate. Difference in business nature, organization structure impact how employees experience their workplace. So a well-structured climate survey provides deep insight into this crucial aspect, helping business create a work culture that fosters growth, satisfaction and success. Right. So that is about this entire climate survey. Nothing extra you need to know about it. Friends, let's move to the next slide. That is the total reward framework strategy. Let's talk about it. What truly drives employee satisfaction and retention? Is it just the paycheck or is it there more to it? So the answer lies in total reward framework. The answer to this question lies in total reward framework. So right, it is a powerful strategy that combines both monetary as well as non-monetary investment, right, to create a thriving workforce. Let's break it down. So if you look at the total reward framework, it's not just about salary, right? It is a holistic approach that ensures employees feel valued, right? It is a holistic approach that ensures that employees feel valued, right, motivated and engaged, right? Employee feel valued, motivated and engaged. So let's explore its key elements. So there is a model called World at Work model. So this model highlights the dynamic relationship between employer and employee. So there is a dynamic employer-employee relationship, right, which is influenced by some external factor and global business trend. It focuses on recognition for contribution, performance management and talent development to nurture future leader. If you look at the component of this total reward framework, this question was asked, what is the World at Work model? Two things, remember, external factor, global business trend, and it emphasizes on dynamic employer-employee relationship. Now friends, what are the components of this total reward framework? One, total reward comes in various forms. The three core components include foundation reward, which means basic salary, which means job security. This is called the foundation reward, basic salary and job security. Second is called performance based reward. So incentive tied to the achievement, this is called performance based reward. And the third is called career and environmental reward, which means growth opportunity and workplace culture. And if you look at the 5 pillars of this total reward, this is very important. Compensation, which is the first pillar, which means competitive salary and bonuses. Second pillar is called benefit, health insurance, retirement plan, these are the benefit. Flexibility means work-life balance and remote option, this is called flexibility. Performance recognition, which means acknowledging and rewarding effort. Career development, which means growth opportunity for employee. If you look at the primary category of this total reward framework, so all reward fall into 3 primary categories. The first is called pay. Pay means direct financial compensation. Second is called benefit, which means additional perk beyond salary. And the third is called intangible reward, which means workplace culture, learning opportunity, work-life balance. So friends, when organizations implement a strong total reward strategy, they don't just attract top talent, they retain and empower them. Because at the end of the day, a happy and engaged workforce drive business success. So friends, if you are interested in such kind of videos where every concept is clear, right, using this kind of flow chart and mind map, you can enroll in our crash course program. Detail is provided in the description section. Friends, now we have understanding the compensation. Compensation is more than just a paycheck. It is a strategic tool that organizations use to attract, retain and motivate employees. But have you ever wondered how compensation is classified and structured? Let's break it down. So first of all, what is compensation? At its core, compensation refers to the monetary remuneration, right, an employee receive in exchange for their work performance. It is not just about salary, it is a well-structured system that reward employee fairly and equitably. So if you look at the job classification and compensation term, so different role come with different compensation structure. Here is how it works. So managerial role, top, middle, junior, right, level. So they receive remuneration. Managerial receive remuneration based on leadership responsibility. so they receive remuneration. If it is supervisory and clerical role, so they earn a salary for their structured job role. And if it is a clerical or administrative, so clerical and administrative means salary, right? And if it is skilled and unskilled labor, so they typically receive wage based on hourly or daily work. So they typically receive wage. So managerial remuneration, supervisory salary, clerical administrative salary, unskilled, semi-skilled, it's all about wages. If you look at the types of compensation, the first type we have is called wage or salary. Compensation is not just about a fixed salary. It includes multiple components like wages and salary. This means a regular pay based on job role. Second is the bonus, means performance based incentive, which we call PLI. And the last is benefit, means health insurance, retirement plan and perk beyond salary. Now compensation grouping by payment method. So organization classify compensation based on how it is structured. There is something called individual based compensation, which means personal pay, incentive or commission. Team or group based compensation, like reward share among team for collective success. That is called fixed compensation, a stable predictable salary structure. Or variable compensation, which means earning fluctuate based on performance. So a well designed compensation system is the foundation of a motivated workforce. Whether it is fixed, whether it is variable, individual or group based, the right compensation strategy can drive both employee satisfaction and business success. That is all you need to know about this compensation, nothing else. So these three dimensions of it we have just talked now. If you really think it was useful for you, please hit that like button. Now friends, let's look at the compensation theory and wage adequacy. So when we talk about wages, it is not just about number on a paycheck. It's about fairness, adequacy, right, and meeting the needs of employee. But how do organizations determine the right wage? Let's explore the theory of compensation and wage adequacy. So first of all, let's talk about the compensation theory. So this compensation theory is called the foundation of, this compensation theory is called foundation of wage decision. So every organization follow a structured approach, right, to wage determination, guided by conceptual and theoretical aspect of compensation. These theory provide the foundation for fair and right wage. So what are the factors affecting wage quality? Let's look at it. The first thing, there is a committee on fair wage. It has outlined key factors that influence wage adequacy, right? And these factors ensure that wage are aligned with economic condition, organization capacity, as well as social well-being. So let's look at the type of wage. The first wage is called minimum wage. Minimum wage is the most basic level of earning, ensuring that worker meets their basic sustenance level. Then second wage is called living wage. Living wage means beyond sustenance. These wages cover the social need and insurance, and it ensures a better quality of life for employee and their family. The third is called fair wage. Fair wage means the balance between minimum wage and organization capacity to pay. The balance between them. So these wages consider factors like productivity, market rate, economy, condition. And finally, we have the need-based minimum wage, which means designed to satisfy minimum human need, ensuring worker can live with dignity and security. So wage adequacy is not just a business decision, it is a responsibility. By ensuring fair and sustainable wage, organization not only motivate employee, but also build a most productive and lower workforce. Remember these five kind of wages: minimum wage, living wage, fair wage, need-based minimum wage. Now friends, let's look at a very important ratio called compa ratio. How do companies ensure fair salary? How do you know if you are being paid competitively? The answer lies in compa ratio. Let's break it down in the simplest way. What is the compa ratio? Basically, it is a central tool for salary evaluation. Remember, it is a central tool for salary evaluation, right? It helps the organization compare an employee salary with the midpoint of the pay range. So you can compare employee salary with the midpoint of the pay range, ensuring fairness and competitiveness in compensation. So what is the formula for it? In the numerator, you write the actual salary. In the numerator, you write the actual salary. In the denominator, you write the midpoint of pay range. Multiply that by 100. Right? Again, I am repeating. So in the numerator, you write the actual salary. In the denominator, you write the midpoint of pay range and multiply that by 100. That will give you the compa ratio. So this percentage help HR professional determine what, when, and where an employee stand in the salary structure. Right, actual salary upon midpoint of pay range multiplied by 100. So what is the objective of this compa ratio? As you can see the objective here. So objective is, the first objective, it plays a crucial role in the pay range, right? Promotion as well as the merit based pay adjustment. So what does this number tells us? Let's look at the what we can interpret from the number. Remember, so if it is 0 to 87%, it means new hires, inexperienced employee or underperformer. If it is 88 to 95%, it means learning phase, not yet fully competent. If it is 96 to 103%, it means fully competent performer, right, at performing at the market rate. And if it is 104 to 111%, it means employee consistently exceeding job expectation. So by using compa ratio analysis, employees are fairly compensated. So if it is 100%, it means employee at the midpoint, means competent performer. Remember this benchmark. So by using the compa ratio, company can ensure that employee are fairly compensated and employee can understand their market worth. So where does your salary stand? Let's make pay fair and transparent, right? That is the role of compa ratio. Now let's look at this particular slide. Banking has come a long way from strict regulation to performance driven compensation system. But how did we get here? Let's look at the evolution of the banking autonomy and performance link incentive. So friends, let's walk down the history lane. First of all, we know limited autonomy granted to the bank. You know what happened? Back in 2005, banks were given limited autonomy to manage performance linked play. This was a small step toward more flexible compensation structure, but there was still a long way to go. And if you look at the current banking landscape, fast forward to today, and the banking sector has seen a massive consolidation. With SBI, with several banks have merged and SBI become independent, making a shift in the financial ecosystem. Now the point is demand for compensation freedom. What does it mean? Basically, if you zoom a little bit, fast with competition growing, large banks are now demanding more freedom to offer performance based pay, right? So large banks are now demanding more freedom to offer performance based pay, right? So large banks seek more freedom in compensation based on performance, right? The idea is to reward high performing employee and boost productivity, but there are some challenges in implementation. What are the challenges? But change is not every time easy. Obviously change is never easy. Resistance from various banking associations and has slowed down the adoption of performance linked pay structure. Balancing employee concern with organization goal remain a challenge, right? And finally, the introduction of the PLI in the 9th bipartite settlement, which was a breakthrough come in 2020 when with the introduction of performance linked incentive under the 9th bipartite settlement. This initiative was designed to align employee reward with bank performance. But how do PLI actually work? So the PLI metrics determine payout based on year-over-year growth in the operating performance, ensuring that better result leads to better reward, right? This is called PLI metrics. We will talk in detail about in the upcoming slide. So from limited autonomy to performance-driven incentive, the banking industry is evolving. PLI is a game changer that reward efficiency and motivate employee. So what do you think? Should performance-based pay become a norm in the banking? Please drop your response in the comment section. So this is how you should understand what is the PLI. Now let's talk in detail about this PLI. In this particular table, you will be able to understand everything. And please hit that like button if you really think that this video is worth watching. Now friends, let's look at this particular table. Ever wondered how bank employee benefit from their organization growth? So well, the performance linked incentive, or we call PLI, right? This is called PLI. This PLI ensures that better performance leads to better reward. But how does it actually work? So the PLI payout is based on year-over-year growth. You see YOY. YOY means year-over-year growth. So this PLI payout is based on year-over-year growth in the bank operating profit. The more a bank perform, right, the greater the reward for the employee. Here how it works. If year-over-year growth is less than 5%, means no growth is there, no incentive will be given. The bank needs to grow to be eligible. If year-over-year growth is 5 to 10%, then it means employee get 5 days of basic salary, 5 days of salary, and salaries include basic plus DA. And if the year-over-year growth is greater than 10 to 15%, more than 10 to 15% growth, then they get 10 days of salary, right, which include basic plus DA. And if it is 15% or more, then 15 days of salary, right? But wait, there is a catch. The 10-day and 15-day slab are only payable if the bank has a net profit. Remember, if the bank has net profit, then only 10 and 15 days are payable. If the operating profit grow by 5% or more, but the bank has no net profit, then only 5 days slab will be applicable. So two things are there. If it has net profit, then only this 10-day and 15-day slab will be given. If just operating profit has grown by 5% and the net profit has not grown, then it will not be payable. So with this guideline, the PLI system came into effect from financial year 2020-2021. Right, making bank compensation more performance driven and transparent. So with this structure, the banking structure is embracing a reward based culture, right, and and motivating employee to drive profitability and efficiency. So what is your take? Should more industry adopt this model? Share your thought in the comment section. Now friends, let's shift our focus to imagine working hard day and night. only to be underpaid or denied wages. Sounds unfair, right? Well, that is exactly why wage protection law in India exists, to safeguard worker and ensure fair compensation. Let's explore this crucial law that protect employee right and prevent exploitation. And this question is asked every time. So at the heart of this law is the clear objective, that is to prevent low wages. What is the objective? That is to prevent the low wage, right? This is the objective, and ensure that every worker get their rightful earning. So here are how different act plays a role in achieving this goal. The first is called the Payment of Wages Act. It ensures timely payment. 6. It ensures timely payment, right? So workers are not left waiting for their hard-earned money. It prevents unauthorized deduction, which means ensuring employees receive what they truly deserve. That is called Payment of Wage Act 1936. Minimum Wage Act 1948. It fixed the minimum wage to ensure no worker is exploited with unfairly low salary. Then there is a Payment of Bonus Act 1965. So basically, this mandate annual bonus payment as a reward for employee contribution to business success. And finally, the Equal Remuneration Act 1976. It ensures that equal pay for equal work, means eliminating wage discrimination based on gender. So friends, these laws protect millions of employees across India from wage exploitation, and they ensure hard work it values, fair pay is guaranteed, and workplace equality is upheld. So if you are an employer or employee, understanding these laws is very essential. Right now friends, let's look at the job evaluation technique, very important thing. And if you really think that this concept is helping you, please hit that like button. I request you, so that this video can reach to many CIIB aspirants and they can also take help of such kind of content. Friends, not all jobs are the same, right? Some require a specialized skill, while others demand leadership, creativity, technical expertise. But how do organizations determine the true worth of a job? So basically, that is where job evaluation techniques comes into play. Right, so let's explore the method used to assess and compare job effectively. On a broad level, we can categorize into two parts. The first is called non-quantitative method. Second is called quantitative method. So non-quantitative method is holistic method, right? But without number. They are holistic method, but without number, right? So this method evaluates job as a whole. This method evaluates job as a whole, right? Rather than assigning numerical value. They don't assign the numerical value. Rather, they evaluate job as a whole. So in this non-quantitative method, we have some method like ranking method. As you can see, ranking method is a part of it. What is the meaning of ranking method? So it means job are compared as a whole and ranked from simplest to the most complex, right? That is called ranking method. Which is the simplest job? Which is the most complex job? This is how ranking is done. So basically the pro is that it is simple to understand, easy to understand, cost effective. But the cons is that highly subjective, making it unsuitable for large organization. And the second type of non-quantitative method of job evaluation we have is called job classification or grading method. You can see job classification or grading method. In this case, jobs are classified into predefined grades. As the name itself suggests, jobs are classified into predefined grades based on job description. So the pros is that it is less subjective than in the ranking method was very much subjective, but this is less subjective than ranking, widely accepted in organization. Cons is that job complexity may vary within the same grade, leading to inconsistency. So this is called qualitative method, right? Non-quantitative method, right? And if you look at quantitative method, so this method break down job into component and assign numerical value for a structured comparison. So what this quantitative method do? So this break down job into component. It break down job into different components, right? And assign numerical value for a structured comparison. So first of all, we have the factor comparison method. So it means jobs are analyzed based on key factor and numerical values are assigned to each component. There are some key factor and for each factor numerical value is assigned. This help create a fair and measurable evaluation system. So each job evaluation method has its own strength and limitation. Choosing the right method depends on the organization size, structure, level of precision required. So what do you think is the most effective job evaluation technique? Please let me know in the comment section. Friends, that is all you need to know from this unit number 13, I think. Yes, it was unit number 13. That is employee feedback and reward system based on performance management. Every aspect of this topic we are going to discuss in the crash course. So let's get started. What performance management all about? In this upcoming flow chart, right, mind map, you will see every aspect related to the performance appraisal system in a single slide. You can see. So imagine running a company where employees put in their best effort, but there is no structured way to recognize or improve their performance. Sound chaotic, right? That is where performance appraisal steps in. First of all, why do we need them, right? So what is the necessity of this performance management? So organization can either create their own appraisal system or modify an existing one. So they can either create their own or modify an existing one. So the key is to align the system with the organization goal to ensure employees are motivated and growing in the right direction. So align with the organization goal. This is the best, right? So this is the necessity. So they can either create their own system or modify an existing one organization. And the key is to align the system with the organization goal. Then if you look at the types of appraisal system, the first one is called informal appraisal, which means it is based for a small organization. It is suitable for a small organization where contributions are directly visible, no complex record, just direct feedback, right? Second is called formal appraisal. As company grow, maintaining performance record become essential. This help in fair promotion, right? So this help in fair promotion. This help in we are talking about formal appraisal. So as company grow, maintaining performance record become essential. Fair promotion, salary hike and career growth, right? Fair promotion, salary hike and career growth. So this is called formal appraisal system. Now there is something called systematic appraisal. What is the meaning of systematic appraisal? So it is a well structured system, does not just track employee achievement, it support their growth, making them feel valued and encouraged to perform better. In short, a well-planned performance appraisal system is not just about evaluating employee, it is about driving success for both individual and the organization. So in this slide we have talked the necessity of the performance appraisal. We have talked about the types of appraisal system, which includes informal as well as formal. So informal we have just talked that it is based for a small organization, and formal we have talked as company grow, maintaining performance record become essential. This help in fair promotion, salary hike and career growth. So this is all about this performance appraisal system, necessity, types and systematic appraisal. Systematic appraisal, what it is? So systematic appraisal is a well structured system, does not just track the employee achievement, it support their growth, making them feel valued. That is called systematic appraisal system. Now let's take a comprehensive overview of the performance appraisal in this particular diagram. Every aspect have been covered here. Ever wondered why performance appraisal is such a crucial part of an organization? It is not just about evaluating employee, it's about growth, it's about fairness. So performance appraisal is about growth, it's about fairness, and it is about a better decision making. Let's break it down. First of all, what it does, that it enhances the supervision quality, which means when manager actively observe and guide employee, performance naturally improve. So basically proactive management, proactive supervision leads to more efficient workforce. Then we have it support the HR decision, which means promotion, salary hike, training program, all depends on performance data, right? Promotion, training data, training needs, salary hike, all depends on performance data. So a structured appraisal system help HR make fair and informed decision. The third important thing is the standardized employee rating, which means imagine a grading system that ensures fair comparison between employee. A uniform scale remove biases and make evaluation transparent. And finally we have identify weakness and corrective actions. So no one is perfect. A well-structured appraisal system highlight improvement area and help employee work on their weakness. That is called identifying weakness and taking corrective action. And finally, it improves employer-supervisor relationship. A good appraisal system is not just about rating. It fosters trust. It opens communication between employer and their manager. So a strong performance appraisal system is not just a corporate requirement. It's a growth engine. So we can call it what? We can call it the growth engine, right? It is a growth engine that benefit employee, manager and the entire organization. So the entire crash course is designed in such a way that you get such kind of slides which help you remember the things for a longer time, especially before your examination. When if you look at the ABM book itself, it is just 600 steps to 700 page book. It is impossible to revise the entire content in just one day. And what we do in crash course is that we just provide you what is essential from the examination point of view, nothing more than that. If you cover that much, especially such kind of slides, this will help you in quicker revision of the entire syllabus. And if you want to be a part of it, this particular crash course, what you need to do, you can WhatsApp me on this particular number. Now friends, let's look at the method of performance appraisal. So performance appraisal is not just about evaluating employee, it's about choosing the right method to assess their contribution effectively. So organization used both traditional method and modern method to ensure fair and accurate evaluation. Let's look at the traditional method. The old school way of evaluation that focus on ranking and rating. So basically it focus on something we call ranking plus rating, right? So friends, first method is called free from essay method, which means a detailed write-up about an employee performance. Second is called straight ranking method. We will talk in detail about it. So it is an employer ranked against each other. Then we have comparison method. So then we have graphic rating and grading scale method. So which means assigning grade on numerical rating. Forced choice description method means employer select predefined statement or distribute employee into performance category. Group appraisal method, so which means multiple evaluator discuss an employee performance. Now we have some modern method also. We will talk about it. Assessment center workshop, basically employer tested through real world simulation. MBO, management by outcome, means performance is based on goal achievement. Human asset accounting model, right, which means performance is employee value is assessed as an organization asset. Behavioral anchored rating scale, BARS, so a highly structured and behavior focused evaluation. And 360 degree and 720 degree evaluation, means feedback is collected from peers, subordinate, supervisor, and even client. So which method is the best? It depends on the organization need. Traditional method work for a structured role, while modern method are ideal for dynamic work environment. So in today's world, a hybrid method is a hybrid approach that balance both is the key to fair, accurate, and growth oriented appraisal. Now let's look at traditional method. In a single slide, I will make you understand all the important appraisal. So this is the key of this, this is the beauty of this crash course PDF. Now friends, performance appraisal is crucial for recognizing employee contribution and making informed HR decision. So traditional method have been widely used for years, focusing on a structured evaluation. The first method is called, graphic, or we call it linear rating method. So employees are rated based on characteristics like, performance quality, teamwork, punctuality. So there are some characteristics like, on basis of teamwork, on the basis of punctuality, on the basis of, performance quality. So it is a quick and structured way to assess the employee. The second method we have is called free from essay method. What is the meaning of it? So it is a descriptive evaluation, it is a subjective evaluation when top management provides subjective feedback. So this method gives detailed insight but may lack a standardization, right? It gives you detailed insight, subjective evaluation. The employer gives the subjective evaluation about an employee, right? But it may lack, a standardization. There is no standard method. The third method is called the grading method. So what is the meaning of grading method? Third, employees are graded based on the job knowledge, analytical ability, and skill. It ensures that an objective performance review, but require clear grading criteria. Then we have something called, forced choice method. Here you can see forced choice and forced distribution method. So in this case, what happened? The evaluator must choose from preset statement. So there are some preset statement. Evaluator must choose from them, and employees are distributed into performance category. So employees are distributed into performance category, right? So this remove bias but may not account for individual difference. Then a straight ranking method. What happened? Employees are ranked in the order of their performance. It is very simple but can create unhealthy competition. Then we have comparison method. In comparison method, what happened? It involves factor comparison and paired comparison. Two types of comparison are there. You can see factor comparison and paired comparison. You know what it means? See, so where employees are evaluated against each other based on a specific factor. So there are some factor based on which employees are compared among each other. So this work will for benchmarking but might not be fair in diverse role. And finally we have group appraisal method. So in multiple appraisers discuss an employee performance collectively. While this provide a well-rounded view, it can be time consuming and subjective. So friends, traditional appraisal method focus on structured and comparative assessment. While they help in ranking and categorizing employee, modern workplace often combine them with newer method to ensure fairness and employee growth. So this is the traditional method. Now let's look at the new method, modern method we call it. So in this case, we will talk about one modern method one by one. So first of all, we have something called assessment center workshop. Imagine a performance evaluation that goes beyond just annual review and rating. So if we talk about this assessment center workshop, this assessment center workshop are a modern dynamic way to assess employee using multiple evaluator. There are multiple assessor and multiple evaluator. So multiple evaluator, right, and diverse assessment tools are there. So let's break it down. So first of all, what is the meaning of this assessment center workshop? So they are structured program designed to evaluate employee based on real world simulation, real world test. So basically it is a structured program, right, designed to evaluate employee based on real world simulation, test, and group exercise. So this method provides deep insight into individual potential. So what are the key skill measure? First thing is interpersonal skill, which means how well do they collaborate. Leadership quality, which means can they inspire and guide team. Organizing ability, which means do they manage tasks efficiently. Problem solving skill, How well do they tackle challenges? Stress tolerance, which means can they perform under pressure? Motivational orientation, which means what drive them? And finally we have the communication skill, means are they articulate and persuasive? So these are the key skill which is measured. Again I am repeating: interpersonal skill, leadership quality, organizing ability, performance problem solving skill, stress tolerance, motivational orientation, and communication skill. So what is the purpose of the assessment center workshop? So basically, they identify the managerial potential, which means, that spot future leaders. They assess the training needs, means they recognize skill gaps. Campus recruitment. Campus recruitment means hire the top talent. And finally, the future leaders. Future leaders means what? Develop future leader, which means build a strong pipeline. Now, what are the drawbacks? So it is time consuming, which means it requires detailed assessment session. Yes, obviously it requires detailed assessment session. It resistance from high performer, so some may feel uneasy being tested. And finally, expertise required. Need a skilled professional to evaluate candidate. So while time intensive, assessment center workshop offer one of the most accurate way to gauge employee true potential. In today's competitive world, company that invest in structured evaluation are building future leaders, future ready leaders, to be more precise. So these are the key skills, success factor, right? Then purpose and drawback. All the 4 points we have covered in this in one particular mind map, as you can see. Now let's look at the 720-degree performance appraisal. These two are very most frequently asked. That's why we have chosen these two. Everything chosen in this crash course content have been asked in the previous year. Now friends, performance evaluation have been evolved significantly. But what if you could go beyond the traditional 360-degree feedback and ensure a more refined all-round appraisal system? That is exactly what 720-degree performance appraisal does. So it is an advanced performance appraisal system where employee receive feedback twice. So they receive feedback twice, right? That is why it is called 720-degree. They receive the feedback twice. Once during the execution phase, right? Once they receive the feedback during the execution phase, right? So execution phase, and again after some time for course correction, and again they receive feedback for course correction, right? So friends, this ensures continuous growth and better leadership development. Let's look at the process flow. So first 360-degree appraisal is done, which means initial assessment from multiple stakeholders is conducted. Then we set the target, which means define a key goals and expectation. Then again we performance execute, means that employee work towards setting set target. So first of all 360-degree appraisal is done, then target is set, employee work towards set target, and then second 360-degree appraisal is done, which means a second review after improvement effort, and then final feedback and correction is done, which means ensure growth and alignment. So what are the key features of this 720-degree appraisal? First of all, pre and post feedback round, which means it helps track progress over the time. Double check mechanism, which means it ensures accuracy in evaluation. How much accuracy is there in evaluation? And obviously continuous improvement. So it encourages long-term employee development and customer and investor perspective. So it integrates external feedback for a holistic view of the employee performance. So these are the key features of the 720-degree feedback. But what are the benefits of it? So it is intense and personalized. So if we talk about this 720-degree appraisal, that it is intense and personalized, means each employee get highly detailed feedback, timely correction, which means issues are addressed before they impact performance, and focus on leadership and growth. It helps employee evolve into a stronger leader. So if 360-degree appraisal was a game changer, 720-degree appraisal is the future. It takes feedback to the next level by adding a second layer of evaluation. So that is all you need to remember for this 720-degree feedback. If you really find this video helpful, please share this video with your or the other CIB aspirants so that they can also take help of this crash course. Now friends, let's shift our focus to the next point, that is competence versus competency. What is the difference? So many people confuse these two terms, but they are not the same. Let's break it down in the simplest way possible. So competence is about what you do, right? It is about what you do, and competency is about who you are. Competency is about who you are, right? Let's dive deeper. So competence focus on result and outcome. It focus on result and outcome, while competency focus on behavior and attitude, right? It is about the quality that make you good at the job. So competent describe the work and task. It describes the work and task, the task and job output. It describes the task and job output. But competency describes the trait and attribute of the person concerned. Competence, is skill specific, right? It is skill specific, which means you develop expertise for a particular job. And competency, it is transferable, which means it is about personal quality that apply to various role. Then competence, if we talk about the competence, so competence is measured by job performance. Yes, using job performance you can measure the competence. But what about competency? Competency is a task oriented, right? Competency, it is task oriented. It focus on what you do. Competency, competency is measured by competence, it is measured by job performance. It is measured by job performance, and this competency is measured by behavior and attitude. It is measured by behavior and attitude. The next difference is that competence is task oriented. I already told you that competence it is task oriented, right? And competency is people oriented. It is always people oriented, remember it. Competence is task oriented and competency is people oriented, focusing on how you do it. So final thought is that if you want to excel in your career, you need both. Competence ensure you can do the job well, and competency ensure you bring the right attitude and mindset to do the job. So you need both of them. Competence competence ensure that you do the job well, because you have task. It is task oriented. It is measured using job performance. It describes the future of work. It focuses on result and outcome. And competency ensure you have the right behavior. You have the right attitude to do the job. So both are necessary. Now let's look at BEI, that is called behavioral event interview. Ever wondered how company assess a candidate beyond just qualification? So enter BEI, that is called behavioral event interview, a powerful technique to evaluate real world behavior and competency. This is a very. Have you ever wondered how company assess a candidate beyond just qualification? Enter the BEI, that is called behavioral event interview, a powerful technique to evaluate real world behavior and competence. So how does it work? So basically, it use open-ended question. It use open-ended question to encourage detailed response, and it is based on a STAR technique. Full form of STAR may be asked: situation, task, action, and result. Right. So let's look at the steps in BEI. So first of all, open-ended question and STAR technique. What are the steps? First of all, introduction, which means setting the stage for the interview. That is called introduction and explanation. That means it set the stage for the interview. Then we have something called job description, which means understanding the role expectation. So first of all, introduction means that you set the stage for interview. Second is the job description. Job description means understanding the role expectation. Then we have behavioral event, which means candidates share real experience. That is called behavioral event. Competency identification means assessing key skills, and finally conclusion and summary means wrapping it all up. So these are the steps in BEI. Again, I am repeating: introduction, setting the stage for interview; job description, which means understanding the role expectation; behavioral event, which means candidates share real experience; competency identification means assessing the key skill; and finally conclusion and summary. So if you look at the types of BEI question, here you can see the first is the past situation based, which means tell me about a time where you handle a tough situation or when you handled a tough situation. This is called past situation based. Second we have is hypothetical scenario, like how would you react if faced with a challenging team conflict. This is called hypothetical scenario. These are the type of BEI question which is asked. Then what is the key purpose of this BEI? It assesses the actual behavior, which means it assesses actual behavior, not just theory, and it is focused on real life incident to evaluate problem solving. And finally, it identifies the critical behavior attribute for job success. So these are the key purpose. If you look at the limitation of BEI, so it is memory bias, which means candidate may not recall exact details. That is called memory bias. And lack of knowledge validation, which means responses rely on self-reporting. So whatever response is given is rely on self-reporting. And interviewer dependency. This is one of the limitation, which means the success of BEI depends on the skill of the interviewer. So BEI is an excellent tool for hiring manager to dig beyond resume and uncover a candidate true potential. But like any method, it requires skill execution to avoid biases and get some reliable insight. Right. So that is its limitation also, and it's so friends, the next point we have, the next thing we have to study is is something called evaluation and structure of assessment center, which is very important. Assessment center. So friends, ever wondered how organizations select the best leader and manager? Have you ever wondered how organizations select the best leader and manager? So enter the world of, it is not just about interview, it's about assessment center. So basically, what is an assessment center? An advanced evaluation method that goes beyond writing, test, and interview. Right? It is an advanced, it is an advanced evaluation method. Right? It is an advanced evaluation method that goes beyond writing test, written test, and interview. Written test and interview is a big part, but it goes beyond that. Right? So what are the key process element of this assessment center?
First is the multiple assessment technique, which means role play, case studies, group discussion, and more. Multiple assessors are there, means it ensures fair and well-rounded evaluation. Then pooling of information, which means insight from various exercises are combined for accuracy. Time of observation, which means candidates are assessed over an extended period. And finally, design of exercise, which means custom made activity to evaluate real world skill. So they are custom made activity to evaluate some real world skill, right? So these are the key process element. Again, I am repeating. Again, first thing is multiple assessment technique.
Basically, assessment center is an advanced evaluation method that goes beyond just written test and interview. It assesses competency, skill, and managerial potential using multiple technique. So there are some key process element like multiple assessment technique, like role play, a case study, group discussion. Some multiple assessors are there, ensuring fair and well-rounded evaluation. Pooling of information, insight from various exercises are combined for accuracy. Time of observation, which candidates are assessed over an extended period. Design of exercise, so custom made activity to evaluate real world skill, that is called the design of exercise. If you look at the origin and evaluation of this assessment center, so initially developed during World War II by the OSS for military application, right? For military application it was originally developed by OSS, and it is used by the British War Office. And corporate adoption, it first started with AT&T in 1958, making it a research-backed hiring model. Now if you look at the modern application of this assessment center, so it is widely used in public sector hiring for a government job, private sector hiring. It is adopted for leadership and talent management, and it is essential in competency assessment. So company today need leader who can think critically, solve problem, and lead team efficiently. So this assessment center, it help find those individuals through real world testing rather than theoretical evaluation. So I hope that makes sense to you. This is called assessment center. Now friends, let's look forward and let's look at the performance appraisal. So basically performance appraisal is like mirror. So what are the merit, what are the demerit? So they are like mirror. They reflect an employee's strength, weakness, growth potential, but are they always effective? So first let's look at the merit of this performance appraisal. Right, the first merit is that it enhances the performance culture, which means it encourages a mindset of improvement and excellence. Constructive feedback, it helps employee identify area of growth and excel in their growth. Then it boosts motivation, which means recognize good performance, keep employee engaged and driven. But here is the catch. So the demerit, sometimes appraisal can be flawed due to unconscious biases. So there is something called halo effect. So these are the merit, the three merit we have just talked now: enhance performance culture, constructive feedback, boost motivation. And if you look at the demerit, right? So demerit, you can see halo effect. So a single trait dominates the entire evaluation, leading to unfair rating. A single trait dominates the entire evaluation, leading to unconscious, leading to unfair rating, right? A single trait dominates the entire evaluation, leading to unfair rating. And sometimes lenient strictness bias is there. So sometimes some managers are too lenient or overly harsh, affecting fairness. And there is something called central tendency bias. So it's rating all employees average, ignoring the real performance gap. This is another bias. And similarly we have similarity error, which means favoring employee who resemble the appraiser in background or behavior. So if you talk about the demerit, 4 demerit we have just talked now. First is the halo effect. Question is asked. Halo effect means single trait dominate the entire evaluation, leading to unfair rating. Lenience and strictness bias, which means some managers are too lenient or overly harsh. Central tendency bias is there, right? Rating all employees as average. Similarity error is there, means favoring employee who resemble the appraiser in background or behavior. So these are the kind of demerit that performance appraisal goes through. And if we talk about how to make it effective, so there are some methods. Objective and unbiased means that ensure fair assessment based on measurable result. Focus on skill development, which means use feedback to nurture talent and potential, and make it fair and transparent. So a well-structured offense system build trust and credibility. So what is your take? Have you ever experienced an appraisal that feel unfair and highly motivating? Please let me know in the comment. Now we have MBO, very very important. So friends, in today's dynamic corporate world, setting clear achievable goals is the secret to success. But how do organizations ensure everyone is moving in the same direction? So MBO you can think of as the roadmap to the success, right? So basically what we do in MBO, we set the organization goal, which means define clear objective that align with company vision. There is something called joint goal setting, which means employee and manager work together to set meaningful target. Performance review meeting, regular checks in to track progress and ensure alignment. And then we have feedback and course correction, which means adjust a strategy when needed to stay on track. What are the advantages of this MBO? The first advantage is that MBO is not just about setting goal, it's about empowering employee. It encourages participation, which means employee take ownership of their goal. It enhance motivation, which means it achievable target keep employee engaged. It promotes healthy competition. Everyone strive for excellence, that is called healthy competition. And structured appraisal system, which means performance review become more objective, more fair. But beware, MBO has some challenges also, like it is focused on result only, which means it can ignore personal development and teamwork. And there is something called unhealthy competition, which means our emphasis on target may create stress. Sometimes conflict happen during goal setting. Different priority can lead to disagreement and soft target issue. Employee may set easy goal to appear successful. So what we learned from this discussion is that MBO is a powerful tool, but it must be implemented wisely. It works best when goals are realistic, when goals are well defined, and balance between results and development. So that is all you need to know about MBO, nothing extra. And friends, the next topic we have to study is to development of BARS, that is called Behavioral Anchor Rating Scale. See how this work. Ever wondered how organization can ensure fair and accurate performance assessment? So traditional rating system often rely on some vague criteria, right? So they often rely on some vague criteria. We are talking about traditional rating. But BARS changed the game by focusing on real behavior tied to the job performance. So the question is, how is this BARS developed? So step 1, you identify the key job behavior. We start by recognizing effective and ineffective action in the job role. What are the effective action? What are the ineffective action in a job role? Right? What make an employee excel? What behavior lead to poor performance? That is called identifying the key job behavior. Then we define performance dimension, which means job behavior are then converted into measurable category. So whatever job behavior you have identified, right, and that job behavior is converted into measurable category. That job behavior is converted into measurable category, helping create clear performance benchmark. It helps to create clear performance benchmark. Then step number 3 is the job expert evaluation. Means subject matter expert analyze behavior based on real job description. So again, I am telling you the step. First of all, we start by recognizing effective and ineffective action. Which action is effective, which action is ineffective in a job role. What make an employee excel, what behavior lead to poor performance. So that is called effective and ineffective action. Then we define performance dimension. Means job behavior are then converted into measurable category, helping create clear performance benchmark, right? So how much is the expectation? That is called benchmark creation. The third step is job expert evaluation, which means subject matter expert analyze behavior based on real job description and critical work incident, right? This ensures practical job relevant evaluation. Then we have behavioral rating, which means expert rate behavior based on effectiveness. They rate the behavior of an employee based on effectiveness and performance dimension, ensuring that each performance level is well defined and fair. And finally, they create behavioral anchor. So expert, a subset of incident is selected as performance benchmark. This is called critical incident, right? So a subset of incident is selected as a performance benchmark. Employees are now rated based on observable action, not just subjective opinion. So this, because this BARS eliminate bias by focusing on real behavior, not vague trait. So that is one of the key feature of this BARS. It provides clear performance expectation. It ensures fairness and consistency, and that is why you all